All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new. Thank you guys for joining me today. And we have Fred. Maybe he wants to be my ADHD Vance coming in. As soon as we go live, he comes in, he drops 5 membership gifts for you guys. Fred, thank you so much for that, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I do appreciate that support. Oh, you guys good? Stop. Cats, you know. Fred, thank you for that. We didn't even go live, and he's out here dropping membership gifts for you guys. What does becoming a member do? It gives you access to some exclusive perks. So when it comes to the live streams, you gain access to the custom emojis as well as the membership badge that appears next to your name. But you also get access to exclusive members only content. For example, this past Friday, I did a stream with my wife. I call it Morning with the Misses. 2.5-hour stream where we hang out with the member community, chat, have a good time. And we do stuff like the members lounges and occasionally members exclusive gameplay. So if you do get gifted a membership, feel free to check that content out. If you want to become a member because you're interested in it, please consider doing so. And Fred, I'll add those member gifts right to the goal. So thank you for that, man. Yeah, welcome back to the stream. It is Monday, October 6th. Monday, everybody's favorite day of the week. Well, hopefully it'll be a good Monday for everybody out there. Yeah, it is pretty cool, Manny. Virgo, what's going on, bud? Ray, I see Ray's dropping the W's and the triple anus. Absolutely. We're going to be talking about the triple anus today. Ghost of Yotei. Luna, you good? Ghost of Yotei is out. I have some time that I spent with it, or I did spend time with it. I don't know. I'm dropping the ball with the intro today. The point is, I played Ghost of Yotei, okay? And I'm going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Ghost of Yotei. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to be talking about Red Dead Redemption 2 and how apparently the PS5 version, it seems like the announcement is imminent. Seems like it's happening, which is very exciting because people have been waiting literally years for a Red Dead Redemption 2 PS5 announcement. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Battlefield 6. We have a report regarding Call of Duty and how it's absolutely dominating on PlayStation, or PlayStation sales are dominating, I should say. And it also has to do with Gamepass. And we have a couple of other things here that we'll be discussing over the course of today's stream. Muhammad, you're saying Ghost of Yotei is peak. Irfan says, been waiting for that Red Dead Redemption 2 PS5 forever. Yeah, people are starting to go a little nuts. Josh says, amazing so far when it comes to Ghost of Yotei. Virgo says, Ghost is very good gameplay, but for me, story is a letdown. But I like the side content. Interesting. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they enjoy the story. I will let you know whatever I have to say about Ghost of Yotei today. I will only be talking about like the intro in terms of the story, because I really haven't made much progress at all in the story, to be honest. Most of what I've done in Ghost of Yotei so far is the bounties, actually. I've been hunting those bounties. And, you know, every time I try to, like, mark something on the map, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do the story now, I run into literally, like, 5 things along the way that end up distracting me and pulling me away from whatever I was doing. No Undead Nightmare 2, no buy. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Fred says probably be a few weeks before I can get to an MEG. Got to rebuild the wheel. Well, yeah, I hope everything's all good, Fred. I saw that picture you posted. It looked a little bit concerning, man. But yeah, I hear you. It's not going anywhere. You know, I think it'll be okay if you're a little bit late to Ghost of Yotei. We just got to be careful probably for certain story spoilers potentially, but people have been pretty good with that. Battlefield is number 1 on PlayStation. Yeah, I'm going to be buying Battlefield. I'm looking forward to it. I really, really, really enjoyed the beta for Battlefield 6, like more than I thought I would. I'm a long-time Battlefield player, and I'll be honest, I didn't have much hope for Battlefield 6. Like, I saw maybe that's an exaggeration. I had some level of hope for Battlefield 6, but I also was just like, well, until I'm able to play it myself and go hands on, I'm not really gonna feel the excitement. But once I got to play it and I started putting a lot of hours into that beta, I'm like, oh man, they did cook. Like they really did. Um, I'm very excited for it. Mr. B, you're looking forward to Battlefield 6? Yeah, yeah. So speaking of Battlefield 6, I see a report on the Gaming Leaks and Rumor subreddit. It says Battlefield 6 has been sent to people before the release date. Original poster confirms that the full game is on the disc. Also states that multiplayer works fine. So this is definitely a win. You know, we're in an era where when you buy a game physically, you don't know if you're going to get the entire game on the disc, especially with multiplayer driven games like Battlefield 6. And surprisingly, at least according to this post, Battlefield 6, if you buy it physically on, I'm assuming PlayStation 5, the full game is on the disc. So that's good. That's good news. I honestly didn't expect that. And it looks particularly good when you stack it up against Call of Duty. The way Call of Duty's been is you buy it and you get like 2 megabytes on the disc. That's the way it's been working for Call of Duty. So, yeah, definitely a major contrast there. Broker, you're looking forward to Black Ops 7 as well? I think the beta's live for Black Ops 7, isn't it? Lady Gamer, yeah, I saw that. Excuse me. We did cover that in the stream yesterday. That's why I put update in the stream title. My video yesterday did really well, which I wasn't expecting. It really kind of took off. I will say, as just a little bit of a follow up to what we talked about yesterday, even though Microsoft issued a statement saying that they're still making hardware, I was kind of surprised to see that a major reaction from a lot of people were, I don't believe you. That was surprising to me. Like, even though they gave official confirmation and they responded and they gave a statement, the amount of people I saw, they're just like, the words don't mean anything. We don't believe you. I was a little bit surprised by that. Yeah, I get Muhammad. I guess in that sense, yeah, maybe it's not that surprising when you look at it from the bigger picture point of view. But it's good news. I hope it I hope it actually goes through, you know. That's a good point, Ray. That is a good point. Damn unknown. Damn. Yeah, same energy. Well, Ghetto God, that's just cruel. That would just be absolutely cruel if that's how it turned out. No way. Did you guys see what happened with AMD today though? Their stock skyrocketed. AMD, I think they entered into a partnership or some type of collaboration with OpenAI, and my God, their stock just catapulted, man. So yeah, I guess it's not. It's one of these things, Irfin, where I guess if there's enough pressure applied from a single rumor in in a 24-hour period, they kind of feel like they have no choice but to respond. Which I think it's good. I think it's good that they did. If they just let that linger, I think that would have been way more problematic, truthfully. But yeah, appreciate you guys being here. Do me a favor if you haven't, take a moment and hit that like button. If you enjoy the streams, if you enjoy the podcasts, I call them streams. I call it podcasts, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you hit that like button. It definitely helps. What's my expectation for this year's Call of Duty? Oh, do you think are you asking me if I think Call of Duty is going to lose to Battlefield this year? And you're saying Battlefield has more momentum? It's a good question. Eli, what's up, man? I feel like Battlefield has a real genuine chance of like doing better than Call of Duty this year. But I don't know. I feel like the conditioning for the yearly Call of Duty cycle is so strong, man. It's so strong. Fred, you call this the community hangout cast? That works. Yeah, there we go. Whatever works for you, man. Verko, you think Battlefield 6 will sell more? I don't know. I mean, I did notice in the pre-order section of the PlayStation Store that as soon as the Call of Duty beta activated, the pre-order shot up. Now, I don't know if these are people that are going to cancel their digital pre-orders just because they wanted to get early access to the beta. I would love to see Battlefield do better than Call of Duty. And that's because I think Call of Duty, if you've been seeing what they're doing, they're like kind of in panic mode. They just came out and said that they're gonna remove or offer like playlists that remove skill-based matchmaking, which is literally shocking. Where it's like, what? Like, this is what the community has been complaining about for literally the past like 10 years. And they just completely ignored it. They never said a word. The year Battlefield 6 arrives, they're like, you know what, though? Hold on, guys. We're going to fix the skins. We're not going to do the silly skins anymore. Like, honestly, I think what we're seeing between Battlefield 6 and Black Ops 7, it's a great example of why competition is so important, because Black Ops 7 is doing all this stuff. Like, Treyarch is responding to all this because of the pressure that Battlefield 6 has just immediately put on them. Because if the pressure wasn't there, I don't want to say they wouldn't do any of it, but there wouldn't be an urgency. They would be like, maybe, but probably not. But because Battlefield's looming large over them, they're like, oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, we are listening. So, we know how it goes. When there's a lack of competition, complacency, usually, not all the time, but usually sets in. That doesn't work if it's not applied to all playlists, because the noobs will stick to SBMM while the tryhards will go to non-SBMM modes. Yeah, there is that concern. There is a concern that this is just going to be a failed experiment, and that if they're not going to remove skill-based matchmaking across the board, it's kind of going to end up failing. But just the fact that they're even willing to do something in that area is kind of surprising. Like, that tells me that they're in a little bit of trouble. I'm going to be honest. Like, the fact that they have resorted to acknowledging skill-based matchmaking and saying, we're going to give you playlists without it. I'm like, oh, okay, man, you guys must really be feeling the pressure, because you've been literally ignoring your community for the past decade in regards to this. This is the number one most talked about thing with Call of Duty creators and influencers, and it's just never been acknowledged. So, yeah, Alma, we did talk about that in today's video. Physical copies of Ghost of Yotei sold 3 times as much as Mario Galaxy remasters, which is kind of nuts. I'm really glad to see that people are going out and buying this game physically. It is 40% lower than Tsushima's physically in the UK, but as we know, the shift from physical to digital in the last 5 years has been very substantial. So it seems like Ghost of Yotei is off to a very strong start sales-wise. Sony hasn't shared official numbers yet. I'm not sure if they're going to. The only time I would expect, unless it really breaks some kind of record, the only time I would expect to hear Sony acknowledge sales numbers for Ghost of Yotei would be maybe at their next earnings report, which I forget when that's going to be. I don't know if that's going to be in November or December. I think it might be December. Can you imagine how much money they lost since the contract? Oh, you're talking about the contracts they may have had for different skins that they had to cancel? TP says Call of Duty devs forced him to say he's excited about Warzone. Oh my God. We need you in Verdansk. It's really sad to see not Warzone dying, but just Treyarch's, not just Treyarch, but I guess Treyarch, Infinity Ward, just Activision's attempt to try to save it, where it's like, bro, come on, man. Like, you guys chase the trend super hard. The one thing about Battlefield 6 that I am kind of like, I guess we'll see. I'm not really excited for it. And I'm a little confused why they're actually going through with it, but they're doing a battle royale mode for Battlefield 6, which is like fine, I guess. But I just feel like, really, we're still doing that? Like, we're still chasing the battle royale? Okay. I mean, maybe it'll be good. Maybe I'll try it, but I never got into Warzone, man. You're 30 hours in the Ghost of Yotei, and it's an awesome game. How are you guys? Dude, you guys are smoking me. I'm seeing people saying, I'm 30, 40 hours in the Ghost of Yotei. I'm like, bro, I'm like 9 hours into it. Well, to be fair, I've been busy the past couple days. I've had a lot going on, but I don't. That's great. Burko, you're 30 hours into it as well. Good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Oh, that's ironic, Irfin. That's ironic. That's the same day that Black Ops 7 comes out. Okay, thank you. I know you always are on top of that. November 14th. I guess we'll see what Sony says. 10-hour gaming sessions. You're about 15 hours in, taking your sweet time. I'm taking it slow. Yeah, I don't want to make the same mistake with Yotei that I did with Ghost of Tsushima. For those who don't know, the way it worked for me with Ghost of Tsushima, when I got it on the PS4, I kind of rushed through it. I don't remember why exactly. There was just, I was coming off of The Last of Us Part 2, and I was not feeling good about it. And there was a lot going on with the channel and just in general with the build up to the PS5. So I kind of like went through it very quickly. I did enjoy it, but I went through it very quickly. And then when the director's cut for Ghost of Tsushima came out, I was like, you know what? I'm going to redo it. I'm going to play super slow. I'm going to take my good old time. And I mean, I was like to a point in the game where I wasn't even sprinting on the horse. I was just walking everywhere and just taking it all in. And I ended up putting 160 hours into Ghost of Tsushima, including the Legends mode. I got all the trophies in the Legends mode. I got the Platinum. And so I did everything you could possibly do. I extracted everything. The DLC, I did it all. So, I want to make sure I avoid the original mistake I made with Ghost of Tsushima. I don't want to rush through Yotei, taking it very slow. Perfect Image, what's going on, man? To be fair, I have 0 hours because my budget is tightening for the holidays. For all the gifts you got to buy. That makes sense. Yeah. It is that time of the year. Dwayne says, catching up with the beginning of the stream as I'm just joining. You're only in the second area of Yotei, and you've played almost 19 hours. Interesting. Yeah, I will. So, getting into my thoughts on Ghost of Yotei. Here we go. Luna's here to be chaotic. Ghost of Yotei. Well, the first thing I want to discuss is just how the game looks. I told you guys that when I saw the Digital Foundry analysis video of Ghost of Yotei, I was quite surprised because when I was watching this video, I'm like, this looks way better than anything I saw in the marketing. I don't know if everything we saw in the marketing was just the beta build of the game or just the way the video files were compressed, but it didn't look, I'm not saying it looked bad, but it just didn't look nearly as good compared to what I saw when I watched Digital Foundry's video. And then I was even more surprised when Digital Foundry was like, hey, turns out this game actually has ray tracing and it has a PS5 Pro exclusive ray tracing mode. And that was surprising to me as well. And I'm like, oh, okay. We've been seeing some developers struggling with the PS5 Pro and optimizing for it or taking advantage of PSSR. But obviously, this is a first-party title, so we have a high expectation. Hold on, Moonshot. Let me replay that.
Bro, you need to read the stuff Sneakerso was leaking about how AMS been operating over the past 16 years. I'd cow you missed that on yesterday's stream.
Moonshot. This is interesting to me. Before we continue on about Yotei, can you tell me where was it on the same NeoGAF thread? Is that, or because I can't tell, the only thing I can't tell with your chat here is if you're referring to stuff he leaked like years ago, like in the past, or if you're basically letting me know that he actually had a lot more to say after that initial introductory response that he gave. Because if he did, I definitely did miss it. And yeah, I guess it's because if it is in that NeoGAF forum, I didn't check it out. I wasn't like looking further down into the forum. Interesting. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, Moonshot, just let me know what you mean by that. And maybe towards the end of the stream or later in the stream, we can go do a bit of a follow-up there. And we have, Are You Wearing My Underwear? That name always gets me, man. Asmon, who gets millions of views, called Ghost trash. Also, he agreed with the IGN video that all PS games are the same. That's where the hate comes for PlayStation. That would explain it. Yeah, Asmongold's, I think he's literally, without exaggeration, the biggest streamer in the world. Right? So, yeah, if somebody like him agrees with that IGN video, a lot of people are going to be in agreement with Asmongold. He said Ghost is trash. I can't agree with that. Why did he say Ghost is trash, though? Is he not playing it? Like, I can understand if you think Ghost... What is Luna doing? Yo, is Luna messing with my VR2 headset? Oh, boy. Okay. Luna, you can't do that. Luna wants to use the VR2 headset. I know you guys can't see her. It's your eyes. But yeah, I can't agree with the idea that Ghost of Yotei is trash. I've seen people complain that it's too samey, like it's too similar to Ghost of Tsushima, or it follows a lot of the formula that a lot of these open world games do, and people feel burnt out on that, and it feels like I'm good. I totally understand that, and I can respect that. But yeah, I can't agree. I can't say it's trash, dude. Like it's a well made game, and the visuals are, dude. Oh my god, like I don't know. I would have to look at Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei with the PS5 Pro mode side to side. I'd have to see these games compared side by side to determine which one looks better, because I don't know. I think maybe Death Stranding 2 in terms of like just overall realism, like the most realistic looking graphics I've ever seen. The style of graphical fidelity, or just the graphical style that Sucker Punch chose for Yotei, on top of now the 60 FPS with PSSR with ray tracing. It's like, oh my god, dude, it looks gorgeous. It really, I'm not just saying that, like it really looks good. In fact, like half of the enjoyment I've gotten playing this game so far is riding on horseback and just kind of like zooming the camera out and seeing just like the landscape, dude. And I'm like, oh my god. I was climbing a mountain, or a cliffside, to get to the top, to get a reward. And there's like multiple stops along the way where if you go, it kind of like ushers you into the area. And when you stand there, camera
Yeah, it
zooms
explains
back.
a lot. It's about how their whole focus is and has been on hype and game announcements, basically paying for fraudulent hype for 16 years.
Oh, damn. Well, I could have told you that. At some point, people are going to realize I'm Sneaker SO. I'm Sneakers SO. That's right. It's me. No, but yeah, I didn't think I don't know why, Moonshot. Thank you for letting me know. I don't know why I didn't think to look deeper into that thread and see what else he was saying. I guess I was just so fixated on the kind of big revelation that he was putting out here of like, here's what's next, you know? Although I did read a couple of those stories apparently that he was sharing with Heisenberg, and I'm like, bro, that's some wild stuff if true, man. But funny, also kind of funny. And Bobby Heckelmeyer with Super Chat says the trailers undersold the game quite a bit, and I kind of like that. It really did. It really did. I have to admit, it did undersell the game. I think both visually and even just like when I think back to watching the stated play for Ghost of Yotei, one of the things that Sucker Punch was trying to convey is they just want the flow of the game, I think, to be a little bit different this time around. And they don't want it to feel just like a regular open world game where you're just kind of checking the boxes off, doing the same things over and over, and just kind of like constantly pulling up the map. And so far, with the 9 hours I played, I think that they have succeeded at this. I think that they've accomplished this mission or this goal because it's like I said, man. I went and I'm like looking at the map and I'm like, okay, where are the story objectives? And I click on it and the wind will kind of guide you in that direction. And every single time I'm coming across random things going on, random camps where I can sit down and talk to people, get information, random encounters that are not just like patrols, but like there's actually like some kind of there's just like something playing out between like two or three people, and you kind of get involved. And like there was this dude that was just fishing, and you just kind of walk up to him and he's basically saying how like these, um what's the main Michael, what's going on, man? What's the enemy's name? The main guy you're going after? Shenzo? Somebody, because I'm gonna Saito. I said Shenzo. Saito. Okay, Shenzo. He's going after Shenzo, bro. Lord Saito. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that name literally like 20 plus times playing this game so far, and I still didn't remember it. Yeah, he's like saying like Lord Saito's men are going after him, you know?
Yeah, it's not necessarily surprising, but it is such a head shaker. They think they are going to succeed off of winning E3 and lies rather than delivering.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a part two. I have to have part two of the Xbox meltdown, bro. Yeah, so Moonshot, I'll look into this a little bit later in the stream because I am interested. I didn't realize that he was continuing to talk. That's super interesting. You don't say. E3 and hype. Luna, what do you think?
Yeah, we do you gotta see this lol.
Moonshot's like, bro, we gotta see this. All right, Moonshot. When we're done talking about Ghost of Yotei, I'll go look into it. This guy's fishing, right? He's fishing, minding his own business, and I'm just, I don't have to interact with him, but he's just standing there fishing. I'm like, I'm gonna go see if I can interact with this dude. And he's like talking to me. He's like, yeah, Lord Saito's men, they keep harassing me. They keep wanting me to join, and I keep telling them I don't want to. And you're just like chatting, and then suddenly Lord Saito's men come out of nowhere, and they're like, "You gonna join us or what, you little bee?" And he's like, "No, I won't say it again." And then they just kill him. And then Atsu gets really like angry, and then you fight all these dudes, and then the last guy, he's like begging for his life, and you get important information out of him. And like all that occurred when I was just basically trying to make my way to the guy's camp on the mountain where he'll teach you how to use the dual katanas. And I'm like, this is pretty sick. Like I just like the flow of it feels different. So that's like the biggest difference I've noticed between Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei is that the overall flow, it really does feel like the changes they made for Yotei are appropriate because you are essentially like acting as a bounty hunter. You are going after the Yotei 6, um and it's one of these things where I was afraid it was going to feel a little too I will admit there were a couple of instances where I was just running into people like one, two, three, where it felt kind of like I was supposed to do this in a way, in a sense, or like it just immediately threw it at me because it's like we need you to get this information so we can start giving you ideas of where to go for the story and how to track these people down. I'm like, oh, okay. But outside of like one or two instances of that happening, everything else, it's pretty organic, is what I'm trying to say. Um, I can I'm picking up on Sucker Punch's desire to not completely change the open world formula, but to just give it a slightly different feel and a slightly different flow. And unless something changes dramatically as I go further into the game, I would say so far that they've achieved that. Um, I came across this little side quest with a guy sitting at a camp with a bear, and the bear wasn't attacking. And you hear him say something like, "Come on, like Shino, it's like time to eat." And he tells you this, and you're kind of talking to him, and he's like talking about how he's friends with the bear, and the bear's nice, and but then he tells you that he's got like a charm that he wanted to go retrieve and place on a grave, and he kind of asks you to do it for him. And you go and you do it. You run into another character as you're retrieving this charm. That's actually a merchant, and you help him out, and then you get the charm from him. Then you take it to the grave, and when you go to the grave, there's a man there, and you find out that he's the father of the daughter whose grave this is, and he explains to you that the bear actually killed his daughter, and you're like, what the hell? Like, why didn't that guy tell me that? And so you go back and you get all the context for the story where he explains what happened and why it happened, and now he has to part ways with his bear companion. And it's really interesting the way it's done, where I'm like, all this is happening literally as I'm just trying to make my way to the next story beat. But and it feels like it's layered, and it doesn't. And the fact that it's these things are happening just organically as I'm going. It's not like marked on my map. I'm not, you know, it just feels very different in that sense. I don't recall it being anywhere near as organic in Ghost of Tsushima. Like the wind and it guiding you and seeing the birds and following the birds, that stuff, and the foxes, that stuff still exists and it still helps. But this is, I think, taken to the next level where I'm like, this is pretty cool. Yeah, it's distracting, but in a good way, where it's like you keep getting pulled in all these different directions. And to be fair, like you can ignore it if you want. Um, I want to make that clear. Like the game doesn't force you to interact with these characters. It doesn't force you to do any of this. It's all just a matter of, there's a little something there. And you can go interact with it if you want. If not, it'll probably just stay there. So if you want to come back and do it later. Um, but it's funny because it's just like I'm getting so distracted that I realize I haven't done anything. I think the only thing I've done story-wise is get the dual katanas, which is so funny, by the way. Um, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure most of you got to this part already, but when you are training your left arm by cutting the bamboo, and it really messes with you because the guy you're training with is telling you you're gonna have to strengthen your arm and you have to train, and they're throwing you these crazy combinations where it's like up, down, L3, left, L3, down, up, and I'm like, bro, what? Like, I was like, ain't no way they're actually expecting me to do this. Irving's saying, told you yesterday, everyone has a different path based on which Yotei 6 they choose. Yeah, it seems that way. I think right now what I'm trying to do is get more the other weapons. I'm making my way to, I guess, the next weapons master or whatever with the Odachi. All the combos were with the left hand only. Yeah, man. But the dual katanas feel awesome. I was excited to try them out when I unlocked them. And it's true. I understand what Sucker Punch means now when they say that you can play through the game using any of the weapons you want. But, after I unlocked the dual katanas, they're really meant to go up against people, enemies who are using spears or the Yaris. I think that's what it's called. Um, And if you pull out the dual katanas to take out those who are using spears, you'll you'll mess them up like instantly. You can still use the dual katanas against, any other weapon or any other type of enemy, but it's going to take longer. That's what I noticed. Like you're going to have to get in more hits, and it's not that it doesn't feel like it punishes you, but it definitely feels like it's trying to let you know, like, listen, if you want to take this guy out in 3 hits, just pull out your katana. Okay. But if you want to keep using the dual katanas, go ahead. It's probably going to take about 6 hits or 5 hits. Um, so it does kind of give you that flexibility where you can play it how you want. I haven't encountered a situation where it's like you can't take this guy out with the dual katanas. It's just not possible. They don't do stuff like that, which is good. And one of the most satisfying additions to combat, by the way, holy shit, I did not realize how satisfying this was going to be. Being able to pick stuff up and throw it. Oh my god! Like when just picking up a random spear that dropped by an enemy and just like hurling it at another enemy and impaling them, like, and that's how you end the battle. Feels so good. Like it's so satisfying, man. The pocket sand, yeah. And that's what's cool too, is the combat so far does feel like a significant improvement over Tsushima's. And when I say improvement, I want it to be known that I thought Tsushima's combat was incredible. I thought that the different stances with the katana felt amazing. And I love Tsushima's combat. But what I like about Yotei is that because she's not a samurai, because she's not trying to stick to a code, and because it is a story about revenge, it actually does expand her arsenal quite a bit and her tactics to the degree where like you're just doing stuff in this game that Jin probably the closest thing you got to, I think, in Ghost of Tsushima with this was like using the poison darts. But it's like that, but amplified, where it's like you're just gonna go crazy. You're going to be throwing spears at people. You're going to be throwing sake jars at people. The disarming. Yeah. How could I forget to mention that? The disarming that is a pretty significant addition that I don't remember if they showed that off in the state of play. Yeah. And I forgot that there's even guns in this game. The two things you had to change right away was the PS5 Pro ray tracing mode and turn the sensitivity. It's way too slow. I might have to tweak the sensitivity. Yeah. I've noticed that as well. Um, I am playing on the ray tracing pro mode, and yeah, like I said, man, I'd have to stack this up against uh Death Stranding to see which one looks better, because this game is beautiful. Like literally, it's like one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Where I'm like, man, um, they cooked again, man. Yeah, I really did like the intro. That's a good question. Because I was kind of curious, like, how does the first hour and a half of Yotei compare to Tsushima? I'll say this. I think for me, they're kind of even. And the reason for that, like, I don't think Yotei's better. I don't think Tsushima's better. I think the reason they're even is because they're both doing something very different and they both knock it out of the park, in my opinion. I feel like with Tsushima, it's setting up something on a grand scale, where you're part of, you know, the Shogun's army, right? And you're going to the beach with a massive battle, and there's an invasion happening, and you see one guy go up warning them, and the dude just gets his head cut off, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And it is like D-Day practically. It's like Saving Private Ryan levels of just like this is something huge, and the scale is grand. And I think Tsushima really knocked it out of the park where you survive that. So there is that similarity where there's two characters that survive something very significant, very traumatic. But I like how personal it feels in in Yotei as well, though. That is like the biggest difference is you get the sense that this character Atsu is completely driven by selfish motives, which is totally understandable because it's like, yeah, her family was killed, you know, um, and made an example of by a group of people. So, after playing that intro, you definitely understand where this character's coming from. And I feel like with Tsushima, it felt more like Jin was kind of like a broken person to a degree, where like like basically he seemed disillusioned with the whole samurai way of things after watching, you know, his people get ravaged by savages who have no honor, no code. And I feel like this time around it's just interesting because they're just immediately starting you off with like, yeah, this character is basically that. There is no honor, there is no code. You will do anything that you need to do to get the job done. So I like how antithetical these two intros and these two characters, like there's similarities, but there's antithetical qualities that really contrast one another that I think it works incredibly well. Like I'm quite surprised actually. The story, and when you go back to Atsu's home, gotta say, man, one of the coolest things that Tsushima doesn't do, but they do it in this game, is you can just toggle back and forth anytime you go back to Atsu's home. You can just toggle it back and forth and go to the past and then the present, and you could just literally keep doing it. I'm like, yo, is that that's the PS5's SSD right there, right? Like, am I mistaken in thinking that? Where like this is part of the promise that Mark Cerny talked about with like certain gameplay innovations. It reminds me of the teleportation sequences in Ratchet and Clank. So I think that's very cool the way that they handled the memories. And you can kind of interact with them at will. Caped Crusader, you're saying here with 2 super chats, 18 hours in, and I've only done the 2 main missions. This game has some of the best side quests and open world I've ever experienced since Red Dead Redemption 2. And you say, plus I've been playing in Japanese. It's very intense. Yeah, I am just playing with, I'm basically playing with everything standard, English and all that. And I think if maybe later in the game, like when I'm cleaning everything up, I might experiment with the Kurosawa mode and, the, I forget the name of the mode, but like the lo-fi beat mode or whatever. And maybe the Japanese subtitles or the Japanese voiceovers, I mean, with the English subtitles. But yeah, man, it does that. Cape Crusader, it really does that thing where it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to end up being 18 hours in. And it's like, I've done 2 story missions. The Yotei 6 are going to have to wait, bro. We have Digital Dude 27. He says, up on the peak where the silence is cold, Mount Yotei looms, ancient and bold. They say when the snow hits and the moon glows white, the ghost starts walking in the dead of night. God damn. Digital Dude's out here freestyling on some Ghosts of Yotei. That was actually really good. Digital Dude, that was good. That was good, bro. I like it. He's not doing a diss. He's doing the opposite. What would be the opposite of a diss track? Thank you, Digital Dude. I'm assuming you're enjoying the game. Is it safe to say you're enjoying the game? He's inspired. You think they're required to do all the gimmicks by Sony, DualSense vibration, touchpad, SSD, ray tracing, anything advertised for the PS5? Yeah, I agree with that, Michael. I just feel like some studios have done a better job, and I feel like what Sucker Punch did with the instantaneous switching from present day to past with the memories, I feel like that's some of the most clever or like ingenious use of the speed of the PS5 and the instant, how like making it instantaneous where you're just changing the entire open world and the entire area. It just makes me it makes me wonder if like other PlayStation Studios devs looking at it and think like, why didn't we think of that? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't we think to do something like that? Because it makes so much sense. I feel like there's a lot going on like under the hood to make that happen. Because it doesn't seem like a big deal, but yeah, Irfin, apparently I was confused too because when I read the original post that said Ghost of Yotei sold 2 million, the claim was that the person who revealed it was the head of PlayStation China. And apparently it wasn't. Apparently it was just a random person. And for some reason, it started like people were saying it was like the head of PlayStation's China division or whatever. The 2 million is not real. No, we don't actually have numbers yet. I think it's safe to say it sold over 1 million. I mean, I'd be shocked if it didn't. Did it hit 2 million? Is it beyond 2 million? We don't know. It's doing well in the UK, though. And Cape Crusader with another super chat says, MBG, imagine you followed through with your boycott. You would have missed out, bro. That's why you got to sometimes separate the art from feelings. I agree. Yeah. And, you know, I, it's one of these things where I see people saying, like, oh, how'd that boycott go? But it's like I said, I think Sucker Punch as a studio, they did the right thing. I respect them for that. They already had my respect for their talent and what they do. And with that particular situation, they earned more respect for me, where it's like they came out and they did it professionally. They did what they felt they had to do. They took the action they needed to take. And I respect the hell out of that because they didn't have to do that. And to me, that was very much like okay, you know, like you guys are just making it clear that we're just trying to make a great fucking game. We're not trying to deal with the BS. We're not trying to bring, you know, we're not trying to be involved with that. We're trying to just make a great game. And that's what I respect. And it's true. It's one of these things where it's like, I do hope anybody who was, you know, very passionate about skipping this game or passing on it or even like boycotting it, I hope that they give it a second chance of some kind because it is really good. It is. It's like you can tell. I mean, you can tell this with a lot of games you play, but a lot of PlayStation Studios titles I play, I could just tell, like, man, there's so much that goes into this. Like, they put their blood, sweat, and tears into this game, man. And, you know, when we were covering the reviews, hello, boss.
I watched Morning with the Missus today and it's just great to watch you both together. Smiley face emoji. Happy belated birthday, Mrs. MBG. Here's a little gift for you.
Don't knock that over, boss. Titus, bro, Titus coming in with a $50 direct donation, man. Titus, bro, thank you so much for that. That's so kind. You dropped a $20 donation, I think, on the last stream too. I'm really glad you enjoyed Morning with the Missus. Yeah, that was a fun one. It's been a long time since we had Mrs. MBG on the channel, and it was her birthday too, or it was her birthday the next day, and it was cool to hang out with the community and have a little bit of a celebration, and things got a little crazy as they attend, which is usually the case with Morning with the Missus. So, Titus, I'm really glad you were able to catch that, bro, and we will have more coming. I can't commit to like every single week. We got a lot going on. But I will definitely try to do some more Morning with the Missus over time. And I know you guys really enjoy that, and especially anybody who's a channel member, that you guys look forward to that. So Titus, again, thank you so much for the generous $50 direct donation, bro. I really appreciate that. And like I said, that last large donation you gave me, that'll be going towards Battlefield 6, which I'm feeling stoked for, man. I can't believe it's coming out in just 5 days. So good stuff, bro. Thank you. And we have Digital Dude saying, I couldn't imagine missing Ghost of Yotei just because there's a woman protagonist. That to me is, I'll be honest, Digital Dude, I really don't know how many people are deciding not to play this game literally because it's a woman. That to me is insanity. I never understood that. We've had conversations about the idea of like every protagonist being a female protagonist and the ratios and the balancing and kind of, you know, having a good balance and mixture. But what's interesting to me about Atsu as a character, so if you guys remember when Ghost of Yotei was first revealed, the first, and I'm going to try to be careful because I don't want to, we are not talking politics here whatsoever. But when this game was first revealed, people were kind of freaking out at like, yo, where's Jin? And who's this, you know, who's this chick? And then, you know, it's like, okay, well, this is different and a little bit surprising. I was expecting Jin as well, but this looks cool. So let's give it a chance. And then people went out of their way to go check who the actress was and then check her socials and all this stuff. And I said over and over again, like, guys, listen, as long as she's not, let's just see how she performs, you know? Like, let's just see what her performance in the game ends up being like. Because I just want to know, can you do your job well? You know, as long as you're not doing something radically insane. I mean, totally like off the rails, like, you know, boss. And that's what's interesting, dude, is like her performance is good. Like it reminds me of Jin's and the actor who played Jin, where it's like it's she's selling the character. Like it's very believable. There's nothing, and it's not just her and the performance, but the writing is good too, dude. Like that to me is the biggest thing. Where there was this big concern that, you know, there was like this big concern where it's like, oh, they hired one or two writers that apparently worked on Dragon Age. And I tried to tell people, like, it seems like they left really early on, you know? Like, I don't think their work was even used in Dragon Age, or probably barely any of it was. And, you know, I understand where the concern came from, where it's like, yeah, Dragon Age is kind of infamous for having horrible writing and just not good. Um, and not very good storytelling. So far, the writing and the storytelling in Yotei is very, very good. Like it's the performances are great, but the writing is very good too. And I'm like, it's turning out to be the exact way that I hoped it would, where it's like everything's just going to speak for itself, where like nothing's taking me out of it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that happens in certain things I watch or games I play where like you know, it reminds me of watching The Last of Us season 2, where like there was the writing in that was like so bad, where like there's just numerous times where I'm like, what? Like I'm just taken out of like, what did that character just say? You know, like just stuff like that. And there's always that kind of concern of like, no matter how serious a story's supposed to be and how immersed you're supposed to get, if the writing is not good, or there's just a couple of spots in the writing where it's like, this is going to immediately just like, this is going to be jarring. I've been waiting for that to happen in this game. Hasn't happened once. And I don't want to say I'm surprised. It's just like, I'm glad, you know, because I was a little bit concerned. I'm like, yeah, the story of Ghost of Tsushima was very good. And granted, I'm still very early in the game, but the story of Ghost of Tsushima was very good. I thought the writing in Tsushima was good. I know that the whole premise of the game didn't resonate with everybody as strongly, but I thought that what was there was done very well. And I'm just so happy to see that like there isn't some kind of major deviation. It's like we're going to tell a different story now with a different character, and we're going to take the exact same energy and approach that we had for Tsushima and Jin and do that with Yotei and Atsu. And that's exactly what they're doing. And I don't know where the story's going to go. I don't know what kind of twist there may or may not be. Oh, I have no idea. It's going to get way better. See, that's exciting to me because I like revenge stories. You know, unless they subvert my, well, I don't mind the subversion of my expectations either, just depending on how far it goes. But I'm liking the story so far. I will say I think I do feel, so I'm like 9 hours into the game. Yeah, I think one of the biggest differences between being 9 hours in this game versus being 9 hours in Ghost of Tsushima, I feel more capable right off the bat in this game, where like Atsu, there was kind of like this concern with some people where she's going to be like an unlikable character or something. Dude, she does remind me of Jin a lot, just in a different sense, where like Jin kind of had this somewhat stoic attitude, but you know, you'd get glimpses into his more emotional side, I guess, when he would think about, you know, trying to follow his uncle and living up to the code and all this stuff, right? And I feel like you're kind of seeing that mirrored here where Atsu's pretty stoic too, but there are these occasions where she's interacting with characters and they're going a little bit deeper and she's thinking about what happened and why she's on her mission and you start to get those glimpses and I'm like I think it's just being handled very well where I'm like yeah, I don't know. It feels like a I don't know if the word perfect is the one I should use, but a very, very good continuation of what a ghost series looks like, where like she's just as believable as a ghost as Jin was. Except the difference here is that Jin was building something. He's building up to the idea of what the ghost is going to be. This character immediately starts with it where it's like, I'm going to go after this guy that's feared and I'm going to just take him out. And when I do, it's going to kind of send this little it's going to start this ripple effect of the Onryo, and it's so cool. I really like it. I really like it so far. Yeah, and Alma, that's what made the DLC for Ghost of Tsushima so good. Like that was amazing. I don't think people talk about the DLC for Ghost of Tsushima enough. Where like exploring Jin's relationship with his father and that level of closure. I don't want to like spoil anything, but it's like so good, bro. So good. What you mean to say is that Atsu can be more sentimental and astute at the same time. Yeah, like she has the same level of drive that Jin did, where I think that's the most similar aspect between the characters. Um, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go any further than that though, only because I don't know what happens in this story. I don't like for all I know, I may be getting ready to experience something like a big twist in the story or something like that. You know? Because I am only 9 boss, are you serious? I am only 9 hours in, and I've only done like 2 story missions, so the music's fantastic, yeah. Jin was more closed off as a character, and it took the characters around him uh for him to little by little show more character development. With that, so you're getting that immediately. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Beast mode. Yeah, I guess that is what I was trying to say, right? Where it's in so many words. Where dude, stop, it's not time. Where with Jin, yeah, they now that you mention it, the side characters really did kind of bring different sides of Jin out. Um, and I feel like with Atsu, while I haven't again gotten that far, my assumption with Atsu, and this is what makes it cool that you can just immediately go back and experience memories if you go home, is you can from the get-go like start to see that. With Tsushima, you only got to experience flashbacks at certain points of the story, which worked. I think it worked. But it's just interesting to see them kind of like shake that up. Or like, what if we could just let the player, just kind of go back at will and experience different things? And it does kind of go back to what Irfan said, where I feel like the biggest difference at the end of the day between Yotei and Tsushima is going to be if you have 5 people playing Ghost of Tsushima, they're all going to experience it essentially. Dude, no, no. Now you're in trouble. In the same order. Boss just knocked all the treats down. Hold on, guys. God, I was on a flow, man. Are you serious? Guys, we need 20 membership stat. No, boss. Guys, no. You're going to get sick. Hold on, guys. I'm almost done. All right. No, I want the cats not to knock the treats over and get them everywhere. Holy shit. They knocked all the treats down. Yeah, I'll let you know if I need it. Thanks. Sorry about that, guys. I was on a flow, you know, and I can't believe Boss just did that. Please do a spoiler cast when you finished it. I'll do the timestamps. Yeah, I think I will. I enjoy doing the spoiler cast for Death Stranding 2. I got to try to start doing more spoiler casts. But yeah, man, in case you can't tell, I really, really am enjoying Ghost of Yotei. And it's one of these things where I understand that some of the biggest criticism that PlayStation Studios and Sony as a whole, excuse me, has received this generation is there's just too many sequels. It's just the same thing. And I'm like, well, I agree to an extent and I understand. But man, like there are still so many differences between Ghost of Yotei and Ghost of Tsushima, and there are so many improvements and refinements, and it kind of shakes it up in a way that honestly I didn't like. I'll put it to you this way: if we got a Ghost of Tsushima 2 that continued to follow Jin, I don't think they could do as many of the things that they're doing here. I think they could have done most of them, but not all of them. And I think that becomes kind of more obvious the further you get in the game. And even though I'm not that far in, I can already pick up on that. And I guess what I'm saying is it kind of explains why I think they didn't want to do another like Jin story, because it would have kept them pretty confined. They would have essentially had no choice. It would have been maybe too similar to a degree where it's like, oh, we have this great idea. Oh, wait, that wouldn't work. Oh, but we could do this. It's like, oh, wait, that wouldn't work either. So I think they would have struggled to find ways to implement these type of refinements and improvements and changes. Not all of them. Again, some of them they absolutely could do in a proper Ghost of Tsushima sequel. But I think you guys understand generally what I'm trying to say. What do I think about the graphics? You're saying you're genuinely shocked at how good it looks, and the draw distance is unlike anything I've seen. Dude, the draw distance is insane. Yeah, I noticed that, Tarnished. I was standing on top of like a mountain, and I was just looking. I'm like, holy shit. Like I can see practically across the entire map and everything in between, like with crystal clear clarity. I'm like, that's nuts. I don't think I've ever seen that. Maybe in like something like Death Stranding again, but just the visual impact, just the overall art style, it has a different impact when you see it. And yeah, when you're watching videos, it doesn't do it justice. Is there a certain members should go to first? You did, guys, stop. You did the training grounds for Saito, and now you're doing Oni's Quest. I'm not sure, MRPD. I don't know if there's like certain things you should do before others. I'm just flowing with it. You know, I'm just going in whatever direction. Like there's no rhyme or reason to why I'm choosing to do what I do in terms of who I'm pursuing. You hope they keep doing this with the Ghost franchise? I was thinking about that. I know it's early because the game just launched, but I was really thinking like, where are they going to go next? You know, what are they going to do next? I wonder if Sucker Punch is like, we're just going to do a new IP next, you know? Or if they are just going to continue the Ghost series. And we do have the Ghost of Yotei Legends coming, by the way, as well. Ghost in Space. Hell yeah. You're doing medium difficulty and it's not easy, bro. I did die a couple times, but mainly because I am still trying to get used to the disarm mechanic. That's the one that keeps really throwing me off. I'm used to the red dodge. I'm used to the blue parry. But the yellow to signal they're going to disarm you, I always like panic and forget, oh wait, I got to hold triangle. And then my sword, my katana gets knocked across the field. And they attack you very aggressively when they disarm you. And that is one of the most unexpected I don't say like difficult. I guess you could say difficulty spikes, but just something that I'm like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, this was not in the first game, and this is messing me up. Like every time I'm getting into a flow, it's like, oh, you're disarmed. Like, ah, shit. But I've started to get better at it, and I've been countering them. And when you counter them, it feels really good. And I think you can unlock, there's skill trees obviously, and a bunch of stuff you can unlock. I think I just unlocked the ability where if I properly counter a disarm, I end up actually disarming the enemy instead. Like that's pretty sick. Robert, you're saying fun question, MBG, Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch. Which one is your favorite? Which one's your favorite kid? I mean, I want to say Santa Monica because God of War 2018 and Ragnarok those games are very special to me. But also, dude, like the first Last of Us game. I can't deny, man. Like Naughty Dog with the first Last of Us game, bro. Holy shit. And Silent Spartan, the membership monster. He comes in again out of nowhere. Silent Spartan, it comes in and drops 50 membership gifts on you guys. Holy shit. Spartan.
Holy shit.
I'm gonna need those treats. Silent Spartan just dropped another 50. I did, and I gotta play the
Good God.
I gotta give all the sound bites to Silent Spartan. There you go. Yeah, they just got some. All right. Yeah. Yeah, you bring them in. I'll give them some. Well, goddamn, bro. Silent Spartan, once again, coming in, dropping 50 membership gifts for you guys. I want to see more W's in the chat. This guy has been doing some serious heavy lifting for this community. And this will be another good opportunity for me. If you are in the chat right now and you were lucky enough to receive a membership gift from Silent Spartan, make sure you go check out the members' content if you're looking for more content. If you're looking for more content, we have, go check out the members section. We have previous members lounges you can check out, previous gameplay streams, and more recently we did a morning with the missus. So please go enjoy it. It always makes me feel good to see my members enjoying that content. And once again, Silent Spartan, thank you so much for the support, man. I don't mean to go on and on about it, but you guys that support directly, whether you're dropping 50 bombs, one membership gift, super chats, direct donations, this is what allows me to do what I do here on the channel. And I'm very grateful for that. And without that support, I wouldn't be able to do it. We're sponsor free. You guys know that. So thank you. Really. MVP Mall says Silent Spartan always comes in clutch. Yeah, he does. That came out of nowhere, too. That brings us to 55. So we crushed both goals, man. All right, boss. All right. Come on. Luno, I'll give you yours next. It's because we got the chicken flavor. That's why boss is going crazy. That's why he knocked it over. He loves the chicken flavor. I think it's his favorite. He's like, gets addicted to it. So I try not to buy it too often. And we have PlayStation Pete, a member for 44 months. PlayStation Pete, thank you so much for being such a loyal member. Say happy belated birthdays to Mr. and Mrs. MEG, as well as happy belated anniversary. When I pull some inheritance money, I will send you some for your birthdays and anniversary. Need one more trophy in MGS3 Delta Platinum. Well, thank you so much for that, PlayStation Pete. Bro's going to be sending over some inheritance money. That's very kind of you, PlayStation Pete. And yeah, the congrats. Well, I'll give you the congratulations early. Congrats on the MGS3 Delta Platinum. I also got that Platinum. That's the last one I got. It's a fun one. I thought it was going to be way harder than it was. And I was quite surprised. I'm like, oh, I did it in like 2 or 3 days. Like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, like when I sat down to actually try to platinum it, I didn't get the platinum in literally 3 days after launch, but I had to sit down and decide I'm going to go for it now. I thought it was going to take like a week or two. I was done it in like 3 days. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. So good stuff. Thank you, PlayStation Pete. Teddy's just saying I wouldn't see a sponsor ad, just like I don't see any ads on YouTube. What do you mean, Titus? Oh yeah, I got lit on fire numerous times so far in Ghost of Yotei. Accidentally. So you gotta watch out for that. Spartan, you're saying, ABG, did you see that Control got a pro patch? I did not see that. I did not see that. I'm gonna have to look into that. Really, they're still dropping support for Control. They must be getting ready to reveal Control too. Who? Triple X. Oh, Temptations has to have drugs in it because my cats go through like withdrawals whenever it runs out. And if we don't have it in house, LOL. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, Triple X. I don't know. It's a little concerning. I don't want to look too deep into it. And Silent Spartan uses his milestone chat. He's been a member for 23 months. He says, happy to help you and your family live a little more stable life. Hope you guys know nothing but happiness and good fortune. Well, thank you so much for that, Spartan. That's incredibly kind of you, man. It's definitely been helping. You know, we've had some, we've had a couple rough patches this year that we're still working on and trying to overcome. And, again, the support that all you guys have been showing has been quite literally the biggest difference maker in allowing us to kind of get through those things and continue to move forward as best we can. So I really do appreciate that, man. Oh, Titus, you're saying you pay for YouTube. Okay. Yeah. YouTube Premium is pretty much the one thing that I have not unsubscribed from. It's been very beneficial. And I use YouTube Music, so that alone makes it totally worth it. MBG, there will be some parts that the main mission won't show up, and you should search the world, finding clues and asking people about the Yotei 6. It's way more RPG than Tsushima. Yeah, I'm picking up on that a little bit in the beginning, Irfan. But once I haven't actively aggressively started pursuing the Yotei 6, and I'm curious how much I'm. Somebody named Flop got a membership. Just Flop. Okay, well, that's fine. I see it. Flop. Yep, Flop got a membership. I don't know who Flop is, but they probably got that email. What do I think of ads in games? I think it's cursed, man. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, like in free-to-play games, even then, considering the amount of microtransactions, I don't like the idea of introducing ads in the games, dude. You're saying you can play in quality mode with ray tracing at 60 plus FPS. It's legit. Holy shit. Yeah, I got the platinum for Control, Spartan. I really thoroughly enjoyed that game. The combat was really good. Like I was kind of addicted to the combat of Control, and the story was really good too. I've always appreciated Remedy's storytelling in that it's just so abstract, and I don't want to say like doesn't go anywhere, but it's like you kind of assume when you get to the end of these stories like Control and Alan Wake 2, you're going to have all the answers. But in reality, it's like we're going to give you maybe like one answer and then present like 4 more questions that are even more mind-bending than what we asked earlier. But I've always appreciated Remedy. All right, yeah, so we'll see if we can keep that member train going today. We'll see how far we go. That's crazy though. I'm genuinely surprised that they went back and did a PS5 Pro patch. I might have to check that out because it's been a long time since I played Control. This has to be because they're getting ready to reveal Control 2. It has to be because they've been working on that for a long time. It's been a couple years since Alan Wake 2 came out. You know what I really want to see though? What I'm most excited to see from Remedy is the Max Payne 1 and 2 remake. Really curious about that, man. I love Max Payne. Max Payne 3 is like one of my all-time favorite games, man. And I know that Rockstar has been kind of helping them with it. If not helping, just kind of like in contact with them. Is Mrs. MBG suffering again? Well, yeah, we talked about it a little bit on the morning with the missus. She's still having a lot of pain and problems with her back, but we've been working on it. We've been, working with the doctors, and you know, she's a trooper. She's hanging in there. But we'll be doing more morning with the missus probably this month. So make sure you guys just again, a reminder to all my members, if we do morning with the missus, it'll be on a Friday morning. So every Friday morning you can come to the channel, check it out, see if we're live or not, or if we have a stream upcoming. And we have a Titus, a member for 21 months. Titus, thank you for that, man. You're saying this message goes to Mrs. MBG. I wish you a good recovery and a lot of health for you and the whole family. My direct donation was for your birthday, so I hope you can buy something nice for you. Mrs. MBG, you hear that? Okay. Yeah, I forgot she's on a delay. I think she's watching the stream. Mrs. MBG says, thank you, Titus. That was very kind. Yeah, I appreciate it too, man. Mrs. MBG getting spoiled. No, she deserves it, though. She absolutely deserves it. So yeah, guys, thank you for all the support, really. We have an amazing community here. Well, do you think Remedy could do a double reveal? Do you think they could do Control 2 and Max Payne remake? No, could they? I don't know. I don't remember how Control sold. I don't know if that sold really well. I think Alan Wake 2 was kind of struggling a little bit sales-wise, or did... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Game Awards is probably when it would show up. I agree, Titus. I agree. MVP Moss, I have about 9 to 10 hours in Yotei so far. So I'm not too far in it. Digital Dude, you're saying, MBG, I'm doing a project about my favorite YouTubers. I just need your full name, your address, your social, your Wi-Fi router ID, please and thanks. What kind of project is this, Digital Dude? It sounds a little suspicious. I don't know. Yeah, I just need your social, man. Miku fan, you're saying none of Remedy's games have sold well? I thought there was one that sold well, right? Let me see. I think you're kind of right. Actually, I don't think they're known to get... Oh, wow. Oh, that's super interesting. I didn't know that. So it says Alan Wake 2 is Remedy Entertainment's best-selling game, having sold over 2 million copies worldwide as of February 2025. While Alan Wake 2 was Remedy's fastest-selling game at its launch in October 2023, the long-term sales success of games like Control, which has sold over 4 million units since 2019's release, means that the title of best-selling could change over time. Okay. You know what's weird is I would have thought that Remedy's games would sell better. Like, they should sell better, because they're really good. Like, they're not like mediocre games. Like Control. Control was not a mediocre game, dude. Control was fantastic. Again, I went out of my way to get the platinum when it came out in 2019. I'm like, this is fun as hell. You see what I'm saying, though? How, like, when people talk about... It's like when people talk about, like, oh, Sony's games sold, like, 8 million or 9 million copies. Is that really good? It's like, well, yeah. Yeah. Like, that's very good for a single platform, usually. Yeah, Sam Lake's funny. I guess we'll see. I think what I'm most curious about with Remedy, ultimately, though... I think what I'm most curious about is, like, they're doing the Max Payne 1 and 2 remake, and they did confirm, by the way, that they're combining Max Payne 1 and 2 into one game. So it's going to be one package. MBG, serious question. What are you allergic to? I don't think I have any, like, major allergies that I'm aware of. Sometimes I'm allergic to Boss, actually. Seasonal pollen allergies, Digital Dude. It's usually what I suffer from. Yeah, no, Titus, I hear you, man. That's why I am making sure to express my gratitude as often as I can to anybody here on the channel who, is being generous and supporting. Is that intriguing, digital dude? What I was gonna say is I'm really I forgot about Firebreak. I completely forgot about that. I'm really curious to see after Max Payne 1 and 2 remake when it eventually comes out, assuming it's done really well, it's received well, assuming it sells well, because Max Payne, I mean, it's pretty well known. Um, I wonder if they could like make another agreement with Rockstar to actually continue Max Payne and maybe do like a fourth Max Payne or something or some kind of like interstitial game. I don't know. I will say the voice actor who um who voiced Max Payne passed away, I think last year actually. James McCaffrey, I think his name was. And man, I gotta say, I was actually pretty upset when I found that out. I believe it was last year. I was pretty upset because I'm like, dude, his last performance was in Alan Wake 2. And he was basically playing the character of Max Payne again. It was Sam Lake's face, but James McCaffrey's voice. He's got that famous voice. And yeah, man, I'm really curious to see what it was December of last year. Yeah, it's such a shame. I'm really curious to see what they do. Yeah, Casey. That was the name of the character. It was basically Max Payne, though. It was so cool. That's what made me love Alan Wake 2 so much. I'm like, this is so cool. Uh, but his voice is so like to me, it's like up there with like David Hayter as Snake. You know, as a late birthday gift, MBG, I'm buying your coffin and gravestone early. Thanks, digital dude. That's not ominous or anything, bro. But yeah, I'm curious with the remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2 if they're going to find somebody else to re-record the lines or if they're going to use the same voice overs of the original games. But it does make me sad that if we ever do get a future Max Payne title, the voice of Max Payne is, he's gone. Which is sad to me because I don't know. He was a I always I always loved the voice of Max Payne. I'm like, he just sounds so cool and his line delivery is so good, and especially when we were playing Max Payne 3 and you have Rockstar writing these lines and he's delivering, I'm like, it's perfect. So digital dude, why are we getting this dark, bro? I know we're talking about a voice actor that passed away, but come on. Um, so yeah, Josh has been waiting for me to go check this out. Um, Let me see. Trying to find the NeoGAF forum. Okay. So, yeah, Josh sent a couple of direct donations and he was telling me to look into what else Sneakers SO was saying because he was basically revealing what was going on behind the scenes at Xbox. Wow. So let's see what else I can find here. Is there an easier way to just find all of his posts? I'm not a member of NeoGAF. Hmm. Oh, that's okay. So apparently, the only way I can actually find all of his posts, like just in successive order, I'd have to become a member. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm getting pop up ads. Damn. let's see. Well, it only goes up to 35 pages, and I'm on page 30 right now. So see, they're talking about Mike Ybarra. Unless uh Josh, is it in a separate thread? Oh, here we go. Okay. So somebody said, I just want to know what effing idiot at Microsoft legit thought Call of Duty would save Game Pass. Somebody else said, she should. What kind of idiot brags about Game Pass, billions in revenue right before a price hike? So Sneakers SO, is it Sneakers SO or Sneakers SO? Because I say it's Sneakers SO. Dwayne, you're finally caught up? Sneakers SO says, in response to this, so I think you folks need to reframe your understanding on how Western megacorps and their leadership view things, especially from the sociopaths with the MBAs. Oh, man. What Microsoft has largely done for 16 years has been purely focused on winning press conferences. They greenlight things, announce things, and focus on making fantastic presentations. The details on these things are secondary and even tertiary. Hold on. He says these things are secondary and even tertiary compared to just creating an amazing press conference to give the impression that they are quote unquote winning. I want you to think of two very different examples of this and how games media reacted in the aftermath of it. The PS3 Killzone 2 video and the Xbox E3 2014 conference. Sony's initial Killzone 2 reveal was immediately called out as not being feasible at runtime graphically at the time, and the media did not let up on seeking out clarity and trying to hold Sony accountable for that misrepresentation. This was held over Killzone as an IP by the media, even as far forward as Shadowfall's release in 2013. It was very important that the media did this, and the result of it was an industry that was far more cognizant on misrepresenting their product with the market assets or with the marketing assets. Microsoft's E3 2014 press conference is noteworthy in a multitude of ways. It's one of the first press conferences where nearly the entire slate of announcements that either got canceled in the following years or were large misrepresentations of just what those titles were or what they would be able to deliver. This was something that almost no one in the media called out until much, much later. And even then, Team Xbox never got held to account for that to the degree that they should have. An entire E3 press conference, deals being signed with titles that would just disappear. This wasn't a practice that stopped. For the leadership team at Xbox, it was always more about being able to make impactful announcements that could sway public opinion. Even if we lived in a world where a product would be successful purely on the strength of press conferences, the Xbox would have been in a far better position than they were. Unfortunately for them, we live in a world where the actual output and platform's actual value proposition is what sees its success. This sort of win press conferences approach to leadership is why you get a situation like Redfall. Anyone who went and played the game knew the state it was in and would have known that the thing needed a lot more time in the oven. There was simply no need to announce it when they did, much less release it. And yet the only reason this happened was because they wanted to win that E3 press cycle, and they wanted to show that the Bethesda acquisition was already playing towards their goals. That is a terrible way to manage a portfolio or a platform. When all of your focus is on winning the news cycle, don't be surprised when the lack of care towards the actual portfolio and platform manifests in missed targets and poor shipped software quality. And it's not even like this was a new thing. You can literally trace it back to when Phil Spencer took control of the first-party portfolio. I can say without question that the best thing for their competitors that Microsoft ever did was putting Phil Spencer in charge. The fact that he used actual marketing budget from Xbox to launch an AstroTurf-led PR campaign amongst gaming communities to create the folksy persona we have all grown accustomed to is just the typical sociopathic or sociopathy you can expect to see from the executive/corporate class of most mega corporations. Bro, what? That last part just came out of nowhere. What? I have to reread that last part, bro. I mean, everything that was just stated is not surprising to me because I watched it play out, but that's a crazy accusation, but also believable. The fact that Phil Spencer used actual marketing budget from Xbox to launch an AstroTurf-led PR campaign amongst gaming communities to create the folksy persona we have all grown accustomed to. Oh, no. 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 There ain't no way, bro. Yeah, Devil Shooter, I'm telling you, man, sometimes I walk away from some of my streams and some of the stuff I see on the internet, and I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm like something I don't know. Something just seems a little bit off. You know what I mean? That's crazy. PlayStation Pete with the $2 super chat says, Yotei, game of the year for me. Which will be your game of the year for you? Well, so far with the quality level of Yotei, I could see it being up for game of the year. If it lives up to, I guess, how it's seeming like it's going to turn out, I could see it being a game of the year nominee. For me, Death Stranding 2 is still my game of the year. Still my personal game of the year. PlayStation Pete, what I would recommend, I don't know if you saw it or not, if you want more insight into why Death Stranding 2 is my game of the year, I did a spoiler cast. We did it, I think, like a couple months ago at this point, but I still recommend checking it out. It's a live stream we did. But yeah. Sneakers SO. Yeah, he said he'll never forget. Phil celebrated when he saw the announcement video of Horizon Forbidden West. He said Halo Infinite blew it out of the water. Man. That's, you know, I don't know. I guess it's not surprising, ultimately. You know, when we see stuff like this come out and when we hear about it, it's like, I don't know. Yesterday was obviously a very emotionally driven stream, but when I calm down, it's like I always just felt that there was just something critically wrong with Xbox, and one of the things that perplexed me the most, like more than anything, is I couldn't believe how it's like, dude, it's like 7-8 years later, even a decade later, and like the same people are still in charge. That's what always eluded me, where I'm like, how is this like, how? I understand and like give him a second chance, but like when the second chance turns into a third and a fourth and a fifth, and the outcome is basically the same, if not worse in some instances, I don't understand. I don't know. It's very strange to me. Are you wearing my underwear with a super chat? Says a leaker, Demore24 claims Microsoft is ready to invest huge in Take-Two. They also put rumors out before the ABK deal. Only other claim they had that was true. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If Microsoft is actually on their way out from being a platform holder, they're planning on ultimately, like, effectively, for all intents and purposes, leaving the console market, not being a competitor in that market, and they're really just going to put all their eggs or most of their eggs in the third party publishing basket. It would not be surprising to me if they're looking to, if not acquire more, invest more. Um, I think that some of the decisions that they've been making and some of the moves they've been making are going to make it harder for them to acquire another publisher. But yeah, I don't think the consolidation is over, man. I don't think the consolidation is over. EA is off the market now. EA just went private. I think that did go through, right? I mean, I don't know if that has the chance to get kind of like, you know, derailed, but I could see Microsoft trying to make larger investments in Take-Two. I could see them, I think they're going to try to make larger investments in games like Fortnite and companies like Epic Games. Publishing is how they're going to make their money, dude. It's how they're making their money now. I didn't read this report to you guys yesterday. I had it in my title, but I forgot to read it to you. Xbox announced a remarkable 50% price increase to Game Pass this week, underlining an accusation that's so frequently rebuffed. The service simply is not sustainable. Now, a new report from Bloomberg citing former employees who asked not to be identified. Actually, hold on. Will it let me read the Bloomberg article, or is it paywalled? It's paywalled. Okay. I was going to see if I could just read the Bloomberg article, but really, it just took me off the page completely. Sorry, guys. I'm screwing it all up. I had one job. If I could find it. Okay, here we go. So it says a new report from Bloomberg citing former employees who asked not to be identified reveals that Microsoft lost over $300 million releasing last year's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 directly into Game Pass. The expense has been calculated based on expected lost sales across Xbox consoles and PC, where the game was available to download day one as part of the service. In the US, PlayStation platforms accounted for an outrageous 82% of full price launch month sales. Offsetting that, overall US video game subscription spending increased only 16% year over year during the month of Black Ops 6's launch. One analyst said, quote, Game Pass hasn't delivered the explosive growth Microsoft anticipated post-Activision, and they've realized their infrastructure costs do not align with their pricing model. As reported earlier this week, Game Pass Ultimate's now $30, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is just kind of reciting everything. So, yeah, man, this is really Phil Spencer's trending on Twitter. Jeez. This is I'm not sure what I'm more surprised by. The fact that they lost 300. Well, I guess that's not surprising in a sense, right? Like, they lost $300 million putting Call of Duty day one in the Game Pass. But what's more shocking, like much more shocking, 82% of all sales in the US for Call of Duty PlayStation. That's unbelievable, dude. Like that, I'm shocked. Like, I knew it was a high percentage. Over 80%? What? I think, this is another reason you can see Microsoft just basically being like, yeah, we're kind of just okay embracing PlayStation as a platform. Because, like, dude, that's nuts. That's nuts. 82%, even with it being on Game Pass still, like, I don't know though, man. Yeah, that's including PC, apparently. That's including all platforms, I believe.
When I saw Yotei I was a day one getty for this game cause I went with my gut as usual despite of bad press. Once I played I knew this is a video game emoji of your contender.
It's a video game emoji of the year contender. Absolutely. Well, perfect image. I'm happy to hear, man. Yeah, sometimes you just have to take a chance on stuff yourself, find out for yourself. And a lot of times, I think you can't go wrong. You know, if you're going with your gut, if you're going with your intuition. So I'm happy to hear you're enjoying it, bro. And thank you for the direct donation. Did you know that Microsoft is invested in Sony through BlackRock and Vanguard, and it's not a small investment? No, I didn't know that, Titus.
Their whole business model is just lies and deceit to the customer/industry. And people really cheer on this company to gobble up the industry. Man, face palming emoji.
Yeah, it's concerning, man. I think, you know, I've went off on Xbox and Microsoft so many times, and I'll be honest, like, I'm just tired, bro. I am. Like, days like yesterday are rare now because I just, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like what Michael's saying. All corporations are run by some crazy people. It's unfortunate. I don't know how we got here, but maybe it's always been this way. I do think that Microsoft probably is pretty bad, though. Like, it's scary, dude. It is. It's scary to a degree, anyway. When you look at these corporations like reaching trillions of dollars in value, and it's like, what is the end game? Like, when is enough enough? And you realize that, listen, man, it's like the Ricky Bobby, like, if you ain't first, you're last mentality. And it's insane. It's insane. I've always felt that I've been disconnected with the marketing of Microsoft, especially in recent years, where I don't know, man. Like, I tend to veer in the territory of you're a hater, and I get that. But there's just been certain aspects of it where I'm like, look, man, I'm not here to say that that Sony is necessarily any better. Like, I'm not trying to be a corporate shill for Sony. But it's just, there are some aspects of Microsoft that I think could be more easily digested if they got the fundamentals right. And I think that's basically what I've been trying to convey. And a lot of times I'm like losing my mind. So I don't know if it's being conveyed in the best way, but it's like, yeah, it's always been strange to me where it's like the smoke and mirrors, the E3 conferences announcing 15 games, knowing that probably most of them aren't even going to see the light of day, or, you know, they're like a decade away or something. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen this for years, and I've even tried to have some level of good faith. You know, I think the biggest game that burned me the most has to be Hellblade 2, where I still enjoyed the overall story of that game, but I just couldn't believe. I was like, dude, I felt like I felt bamboozled, man. You know, where I'm like, look, this is like the one game that I held in high regard for Microsoft, and the studio that I'm like, Microsoft, this is your opportunity to prove that you're different now, that you're better, you know, that like you have the talent and you have to guide them. And this studio can be, dare I say, maybe not at first, but over time, your own Naughty Dog. And I just felt like a fool for even thinking that, because it's like, of course, Hellblade 2 can't even be as good as the first game. And of course, it's going to be a 5-hour experience where, you know, 70% of it is walking. And when I say walking, I mean literally not doing anything. I'm like, what? How? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful looking game, and the story it tells, I also enjoy. But it's like, what the hell, dude? You know, like you guys announced this game at the Game Awards alongside the Series X. It's just disappointing ultimately, man. Are you wearing mine to where it says anyone who simps for a corporation is a weirdo? They're losers. Yeah, I mean, you. I think you see a lot of weird behavior these days, and I get accused of some weird behavior. Granted, maybe I am a weirdo to an extent, but I think it's about drawing certain lines for the sake of, I guess, reason, to be somewhat reasonable, somewhat rational, where it's like, there's no need to defend corporations, but from a fan's perspective, and I guess I can speak to this because I am a fan, it's like people, I think, sometimes twist what I say and what others say, where it's like if we're enjoying PlayStation and certain things they're offering, it's like, oh, you're shilling. It's like, well, maybe we're actually just enjoying it. Like there's layers to this here, where most of those layers are we're just enjoying the thing. You know what I mean? And that's why I try to acknowledge, like during yesterday's conversation, I try to acknowledge that, like, I don't want it to be perceived as I hate every Xbox fan. And I hate Xbox, in its entirety, and that it's the devil, and if you support it, you're the worst. And I think I'm viewed that way sometimes. I think people go out of their way to make it seem that way, but it's more like, dude, there's at least a few million, right? I would assume a few million, but probably millions of people who engage with Xbox, where it's like, my problem isn't with them at all. Really, my problem is kind of with what Sneakers SO acknowledges here in his lengthy post. How he basically says that, like, he's kind of confirming that if you have been if you've had the hunch that a lot of what's going on behind the scenes is a lot of like cheering and high-fiving over trying to like win the PR battles rather than actually doing something that's, has more substance to it, and it has a more profound impact from a platform level or a console level, or an ecosystem level. If you got the sense that that's kind of what's been going on for the past decade or decade and a half even, yeah, that's kind of what has been going on. And when that started to become clear to me was when I started to see certain individuals within the fan base reflecting that. That's when I started to kind of raise an eyebrow, like, well, hold on. Like, it's one thing to be conspiratorial and to think that maybe this is what's going on. Maybe this is where the incompetence lies. Maybe this is where the confusion lies. But then you start to see it reflected in certain areas of the fan base. And I'm like, where's that coming from? And then you realize they're emulating, like, it kind of reveals that there's truth in it. You know what I mean? Where it's like they're emulating what they're kind of seeing and what they're being fed in a sense. And that has always bothered me, because it's like, bro, like it's like you guys realize, like, you're coming off as, yeah, it's like a trickle down effect, right? Where it's like you guys are coming off as like it's coming off as superficial. Simply put, it's coming off as superficial. It's coming off as an aggressive play to sway the headlines, to win the battle of perception and not the battle of substance. And it also explains why Sony has had this attitude, like, we're not even going to pay attention. Sony has had this energy where we're like, we're not even looking in that direction anymore. And I always paid attention to that. And I always talked about it. I was like, Sony, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Like, why don't you? And I realized, like, a lot of what I've been asking Sony to do, granted, they do need to improve in some areas. I'm not saying they don't. They definitely do. But so much of, like, Sony, you got to do this and you got to do that. Looking back on it, it's me feeling like you got to respond to what Microsoft's doing, because that's what Microsoft's focus has been. Microsoft's focus has been on how do we win the E3s? How do we have the better showcases? How do we have the better marketing? Now, granted, it does start to make sense. I think that what Sneakers SO is saying, it sounds really nefarious. It sounds really bad. It sounds like Phil Spencer's a villain, basically. I'm not going to take it that far. I think it makes logical sense if you look back at the Xbox One reveal. Sony basically laid waste to the entirety of the Xbox division and Microsoft's gaming division. And one of the things that Phil Spencer talked about, and I remember this because I was there early on, one of the things that Phil Spencer talked about the most when he took over and became the head of Xbox was the morale, the low morale with the division. Like, people were giving up. Like, people were like, we're done. Like, we got cooked. It's over. And you can kind of maybe put two and two together and understand why Phil's big focus was trying to win the battle of perception. You know, Phil probably was the person that's fixated on that video that Shuhei Yoshida and Adam Boyce put out, where it's like, here's how you share a game. Because it's like, yes, dude, that single 10-second clip did irreparable damage to Xbox and everybody involved with what they were doing. And so I guess I'm just saying it makes sense to a degree why the chip that Phil probably had on his shoulder, and therefore, as long as he was in charge of the Xbox brand and now he's in charge of all of gaming, it stems from Sony beat the piss out of us through marketing and through messaging. And the biggest criticism that Microsoft got at the beginning of the Xbox One generation was messaging. You screwed up the messaging. You lost the resolution battle, where I remember there were articles coming out talking about this game runs at 1080p on the PS4 and 720p on the Xbox One, and stuff like that crushed Xbox, bro. So you know, and you have Sony having these grand E3 presentations, E3 2016, E3 2015, just absolutely stomping them, dude. And I can understand why, like I'm saying, it makes logical sense why the person or the people who are in charge of the Xbox division, they see that and they're like, we have to beat them at that game. And all the while, you know, this is why I'll never forget. I will always bring this up because it tells you everything you'll ever need to know. This is why you got Microsoft in 2020 sending a group of their own employees to do a secret review of The Last of Us Part 2. And the conclusion that those employees came to when they brought their review back to Phil Spencer is, this game is so far beyond anything that we even remotely are capable of. We can't do this. That essentially is the conclusion that they came to. What does that mean? Then it begins to make even more sense, where it's like, okay, well, if we can't actually make a game that good, maybe we can just convince people that we can make games that good. Maybe that's all we need to do. So there's logic there, in a sense, where I think at the end of the day, when we look back, now that the console wars are pretty much over and Microsoft is, you know, I think it's safe to say they're going in a different direction. The pivot's still happening. The transition is still occurring. But when we look back, I think at the end of the day, it just kind of becomes clear that Sony, while not perfect and also made their own mistakes, they brought something of substance to the table. And I think that, you know, are there times where they maybe get a little bit too full of themselves, where, like, you know, they get ahead of themselves and they think they're, you know, they're bigger than they actually. Sure, I think that's happened before. I think it happens occasionally, but you know, they continue to learn from that, seemingly. But I think that that's what Microsoft has been lacking this whole time. Just really, truly bringing something of substance to the table, where it's like, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. It's just like, yeah, there's something very wrong with that conclusion you came to, Microsoft. Like, I don't know how I would fix that either. I don't know what I would do if I was in charge of a gaming brand and a gaming division where I sent out my trusted employees to do a full blown internal review of The Last of Us Part 2. And the conclusion they came up with is like, good luck. Like, we're not doing this. We literally can't do this. You know, like, I wouldn't know what to do either. Where I'd probably be looking at Sony and be like, how are they? What's the secret? This is why I said yesterday. This is why I said I know it sounded funny the way I worded it, and it was silly, but I said they don't have the sauce, bro. They do not have the sauce. Sony has the sauce that Microsoft wants, that Microsoft wanted. And look, man, I'm not saying I know how to get that sauce. I'm not running Sony. All I know is that these companies want my money. That's all I know. They want my money. And Ghost of Yotei is yet another example of like, dude, I'm like 10 hours into this game. Probably going to be some of the one of the best $70 purchases I make this year. Hands down. Death Stranding 2 is my game of the year. And granted, that's not fully PlayStation Studios. It's Kojima recognizing we should give Kojima the chance to make another weirdo game. You know, like something that isn't probably going to sell that great, but is going to be something different and unique. And I'm like, absolutely. And that's why I still will give credit to Microsoft for like, yeah, let Kojima be a weirdo with OD, please. Like, I really want to, I hope that doesn't get canceled. You know what I mean? What the hell is this? Oh, okay. So I don't mean to go on and on. But it's just difficult. When we see these reports and all this stuff coming out, it's difficult not to kind of look back at least for me, right? And the history I have on my channel, the history I personally have with Xbox, or that I publicly have here on the channel. It's hard not to look back at these things and think about these things. And I just think at the end of the day, it is going to be kind of sad if Xbox just kind of fades into just being a publisher, and that's all they are. There will still be games that they probably put out that I'll be interested in. I'm still interested in State of Decay 3, Forza Horizon 6. Like, there's still probably going to be stuff that I'm interested in, but I just think it's going to be sad to think at the end of the day, all I think I wanted to see, or what I know I wanted to see, and I think a lot of other people wanted to see, is Microsoft kind of rise up to be that fierce competitor to Sony. You know what I mean? And there's just a lot of people that they don't believe that. And that's fine. I'm not going to try to convince anybody otherwise. There's no reason for me to waste my time or energy doing that. But, if we go back to the beginning of the stream, I talked about Battlefield 6. I talked about Call of Duty, and I talked about how Battlefield 6 has rattled Activision's cage. And you are seeing Treyarch, the developers of Black Ops 6, be more hands-on with the community than they ever have been. They're basically on their hands and knees being like, don't worry, like, please just tell us what you want us to do. We'll do it. We'll do it. And, that to me, as I said earlier, is a great example of this is like, it's going to be a sad thing, ultimately, truly. I'm not saying this means Sony's going to turn to shit. Some people assume that's what's going to happen. We don't know. But it's going to be a sad thing if that level of competition ceases to exist and nobody can come in to take the place that Microsoft was supposed to, the place that Microsoft had at the table, where it's like they are supposed to be. I don't know if you guys saw, like, there was a report that just came out where apparently the Coalition back in like 2012, 2013, 2014, they were making an Uncharted competitor, literally, to compete with Uncharted. That was the purpose of it. And I didn't read the entire report, but for some reason it got canceled. I'm like, I guess that would explain why they just money hatted Rise of the Tomb Raider in 2015, because the game that they thought they were going to have to compete with Uncharted got canceled. Now they need something else. And I guess it makes sense when you look at it from that perspective, but I'm just like, every effort that they've made to try to compete with Sony and their games has simply failed. And that's not me saying that as a hater. That's me saying that as somebody who's kind of sad to say it, where it's like, dude, they tried to make it Uncharted, it didn't work. They said we can't even make a Last of Us. They didn't even bother trying. They tried to do something with the initiative, where that's going to be our like God of War, Last of Us studio maybe, and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything, and I'm like, what? It's just shocking. It's just shocking. Like, how can you be involved in the gaming industry this long and be so, if not clueless, just like incompetent? We're like, I, and you know what? To be fair, the buck does stop with the head of Microsoft. The buck stops not with Phil Spencer, but with the board of Microsoft, the people above Phil Spencer, above Matt Booty, above Sarabon. And at some point you have to ask, like, why didn't they do what needed to be done? Which is, in my opinion, at some point you got to call it and realize that, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Sarabon, Aaron Greenberg, you guys have been doing this shit for like nearly a decade, and we've made like no progress. We have to clean house and find new leadership. We need a new vision. I'll never understand why that didn't happen. I'm telling you, it's almost like the leadership at Microsoft just kept giving these executives more and more rope. And it's like, bro, they're only ever going to do one thing with that rope, man. They've proven this. They're not even going to try to do it, and that's how it's going to turn out. Stop giving them rope. Let them go, But they never did this. And this is why when we talk about the PlayStation side of things, I still am very focused on Herman Holst, not because I want to be an asshole and like clown on the guy. He's just trying to do his job. But it's like, I don't want to see a situation like that occur with the PlayStation side, where it's like, Herman, you're giving us some vibes. We're getting a little worried. So I hope that going forward, you can kind of reassure us and prove to everybody that you know what you're doing. And, I think hopefully Sony, I doubt Sony, I think is different from Microsoft, where I don't think Sony's going to do that. Sony's not just going to keep giving Herman rope. They're going to give him just enough and see what he does. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. We have angry, or no, sorry, I don't know. I almost said angry wearing my underwear. Are you wearing my underwear? It says PlayStation will continue to produce great games and consoles, and Nintendo will do the same. Microsoft, unfortunately, will continue to make godly amounts of money. Yeah. I mean, that's the craziest part about it, is like the end result for Microsoft is, I guess, getting what they ultimately wanted. I just wish that they were able to get it together, man. And I don't think it's going to be all bad. I'm not, I think people misunderstand me sometimes. I think they make certain assumptions. I think I make it easy for them to misunderstand me and make certain assumptions, but it would be fantastic if, like, imagine if Microsoft had an Uncharted competitor right now. Imagine. Like, that would be perfect, dude. Because nobody at Sony, as far as I'm aware, is making an Uncharted. Uncharted's been resting for almost a decade now. And there hasn't really been any Tomb Raider games. Like, this would have been the perfect time for Microsoft to be like, now is our chance to kind of, because people are ready for this now. It's not going to feel like the same. It's going to feel like there was, a little lull period and a break, and Sony's doing Intergalactic and more Last of Us. And here we go. Now Microsoft is doing insert name of new IP. and it looks like their own version of Uncharted. I feel like, that stuff just doesn't exist. That just doesn't exist. And it's sad because we are getting these reports that like Microsoft tried to make it exist and it just didn't work. They just couldn't do it. So, yeah. Jake Skew, a member for 23 months, says, what game next year are you excited to play? And wow, 23 months. Yeah, thank you for being a member for 23 months, Jake. Right now, my number one most anticipated game for next year, Jake, is GTA 6. I know that's such a simple cop-out answer, but, I'll give you a bonus, which is also probably another expected answer, but Resident Evil Requiem, dude. Requiem. I hate that. I'm just going to say Resident Evil 9. I'm very much excited for Resident Evil, and and Saros, actually. I forgot we got a release date for Saros. That's coming out in March. Wolverine is up there. The only reason I'm not mentioning Wolverine is because it's at the end of 2026. So it's like, it's one of these things where it's still so far away where I'm like, I'm just thinking the first 5 to 6 months of 2026. But yeah, Wolverine's up there. James Bond, it looks good. We'll see. I don't know. It's coming out around the same time as Sorrow, so I'm probably not going to play it day one if I do play it. But yeah, Irfan, it's an unfortunate reality. 2026 is going to be nuts, man. Yeah, 2026 is looking like a crazy year. And Are You Wearing My Underwear says, Sony, to be fair, is trying to make Fortnite Overwatch. Yeah, like, dude, the whole live service situation with Sony, one of the things that makes it so painful is it's Sony revealing, like, you don't got it, bro. Like, Sony, you don't got the live service sauce. You got the sauce for single player.
MBG, guess what?
Live
Nintendo
service, I'm not
sub
sure.
is so cheap, like $80, and you can play all retro games, and some stick to and wait for the game that player want to play. Smiley face emoji.
Perfect Image, you're talking about the Nintendo subscription service. I haven't, I don't know anything about it. You're saying it's $80. Is that for a year, I assume? You can play all the retro games. Yeah, Perfect Image, I am beyond out of the loop with Nintendo, dude. Like, I see people hating on them. I see people enjoying them. And I'm like, I guess they're just doing their thing, IO Interactive is giving us that Uncharted feel. That's true, Raven. That's true. Yeah, you could see layers of Uncharted in that gameplay presentation for 007. Yeah, I don't know. Perfect Image, is that a good deal? I don't know. Would you guys agree? Is $80 a year for Nintendo's online service, is that a good deal? I mean, if you really like the classic Nintendo games, I guess it could be. If you play that a lot. Xbox could have had their own Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but they messed up and ended Killer Instinct. You'll sail the high seas instead. The family pack. My throat's killing me, dude. I think I have a little bit of a virus. I got that sore throat feeling, like the kind of sore throat that you get when you're sick with something. Like, I don't feel real sick. I just have a real bad sore throat. I don't know why. I guess it's that time of the year. It was $20 for you and you got the GameCube subscription. I'm confused for the year. I think maybe he's talking about like a family subscription. I'm not sure. $80 is for the expansion pack and also allows you to share your online with up to 8 others. Okay. James, thank you for that. James, the camera guy. That's pretty cool. Sharing it with up to 8 other people is kind of cool. That's not bad. Yeah. But I'm out of the loop with Nintendo, man. Let me just scroll through the rest of this real quick and see if there's anything else that has come out. Um, yeah, I think that was like the last major post. You know what I get so annoyed about? I'm not. One day, I will have the strength that I need, man. Because it's just, I still don't have it yet. I should watch Angry Joe's video on the whole Xbox thing. Let me guess, he exploded on them. He freaked out. It's just like, what's up with people, certain individuals in this community being like, breaking. I've just been told Xbox is not dead. Who said Xbox was dead, bro? Who said that? Hmm? Who who is out here with any level of credibility, with any level of, like, who said that? Like, dude, no, stop. Just stop, Like, just, it's okay. It's okay for people when they hear reports of Microsoft potentially that no loss, not in that way, potentially walking away from the hardware that they said they were going to do. It's okay for people to be very concerned and ask what is going on, or even just be straight up angry at the idea that that could even be a thing. It's okay. Nobody's saying Xbox is dead. Everybody's well aware that Xbox is not dead. Okay, Xbox will, at the very least, even if the worst of the worst of the worst happens 10 years from now, you're still going to have Xbox published video games. That will still be a thing. I feel like it, it's people are well, maybe that's why Garrett, because we got people like Garrett. He's like, no, Xbox is dead. Oh, well, I guess some things never change, huh? Lots of people. It's hyperbole, but not a reasonable thing to say. Yeah, I mean, hyperbole can be fun. It becomes really unfun when it's like taken seriously, though. That's when it becomes unfun. Because it's like, guys, we're just, you know. Are you wearing my underwear? Says the last 3 streams have been about Xbox. They're not dead. No, they're far from dead. It's like you said, they're going to continue to make a lot of money. And I mean, I don't know that this is the type of perception that they want, right? Like, I don't know that the last couple of conversations, and not even just on the channel, but generally speaking, people talking about Xbox, I don't know that this is what they want. But you know how the old saying goes, all publicity is good publicity, right? So we'll see what they end up doing, man. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm at the mercy of it myself, frankly. Like, it's hard to ignore some of these things. And I could try to be like, oh, we'll do a 20-minute segment. But some of these things I do feel like it's been pent up for like years. It's like I have a lot to say, bro. But I get it out of my system. And then we move on. Slowly. All right. But yeah, I just perused the rest of this NeoGAF forum or thread, I mean, and I think that was the last thing he said. I'm not seeing anything else pop up. I'm on the last page now. Modern Vintage Gamer uploaded a video, apparently. Death by 1,000 cuts. The Xbox situation is not good. Well, I mean, I'll keep you guys updated, but I think, the long and short of it at this point, I don't know what kind of dramatic news is going to come out of Microsoft, if any. But here we go. Carlos, you're saying Xbox is not dead. They're moving completely to PC/Windows, but their traditional Xbox console is dead. If you want the typical console with a closed ecosystem, that's Nintendo and Sony. I agree with that. I think that's well put. If you get the chance, MBG, watch the Legendary Drops video on the current Xbox situation. It breaks it down perfectly. I did watch half of it because I think Josh, somebody in my chat yesterday sent it to me, and I was like trying to watch it like 2.5 times speed because it was like right before I went live. And while I didn't catch the whole thing, it is bizarre, I have to say. And you know, I have to check my own ego here, truthfully. Like, I'm just trying to be completely brutally honest with myself, where it's like, it is difficult sometimes to see, but I guess it comes with the territory. You know, everybody goes on their own path, but it's difficult to see people, you know, kind of saying like like waking up to the things that I've been, and I don't want to come off that way. Like, to me, that's just cringe. I'm not trying to take a victory lap. I'm not saying I was right. I was right. It's, you know, like give me all the credit. No, but it is weird seeing people kind of like wake up literally years later. And I guess that's the thing, man. It's like they say timing is everything. But yeah, I've been watching some of these videos. I've been seeing some of the reactions from people. I've been listening, and I'm like, God damn. This is why I was saying the Devil Shooter. I don't think I'm gonna go through with it because I just don't know that it's gonna. I don't know what the end game is, but it's why I was saying yesterday, like, I'm thinking about teaming up with Devil Shooter and like going back and finding all this stuff and creating like a super cut. But it's like, you know, is anybody really gonna care? Probably not. You know, like, is anybody gonna be like, oh, you were totally right, WG? It's just there are people who have been riding with me for a long time, and you know, they remember, they know, and that's all that really matters. Is it's just, you know, people are starting to kind of see that, yeah, this is, I think, how it's gonna go. I think a lot of us here saw that a while ago. We talked about it extensively, and I guess it's just one of these things where it's like, I was basically the guy yelling and screaming and losing it and being a little bit belligerent in some ways. And they're like, what the hell's this guy got? What are you talking? Like, what's his problem? But then it's like, you know, give it time. A lot of it actually comes true. And, you know, I'm still just like, you were that crazy guy, you know? The supercut would be for my audience. Yeah, it would be an interesting one. But I don't know. I don't want to. A lot of that's ego driven. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I don't want to. There's a lot of that going on right now, and that shit. To me, that shit is what's toxic, and it makes me not want to be involved with it. Where it's like everybody's. It's all about the ratios. It's all about the dunking. It's all about the pissing contests, and I'm like, whatever, man. Like, people are right about a lot of shit. People are wrong about a lot of shit, and that's the truth for everybody. But it's the perception, right? That's what it all boils down to, man. The perception is the reality, even if it's not. That's not true. Do people believe it is? Yeah, then it's true. You see what I'm saying? But yeah. Well, what I was gonna say before I move on to talk about Red Dead 2, and this is the final thing I'll say before we, you know, move on, is I don't know what is next for Microsoft. I would sit here and tell you guys I'm not talking about Xbox anymore. I'm not covering Microsoft anymore. I'm not gonna do that because I've tried to do that many times to no avail. Um, I find your integrity and lack of pettiness really irritating sometimes, MVG. Well, I'm sorry, Smurf. I know. It's because, dude, it's you're either gonna play the game or you're not. I guess but that's why I think that's what irritates people is like sometimes I get involved. Like I'm gonna play the game today, but then I realize I don't want to play this game. You know, like actually, never mind. This game sucks. And I don't mean to do that. I really don't. Like I come off like bipolar in that way, and it's like I'm not trying to do it. It's not as intentional as it seems. You know, um, it's very much just it's the emotionality of it. It's the emotional side of it that sometimes takes the wheel, and I'm like, I don't want to. It's not just not worth it. Like I already know, dude. You know, like none of this is even remotely surprising. There is that part of me that wants to get like worked up, but it's like, bro, I literally saw this 4 years ago. I saw this 7 years ago, man. Not exactly in this sense, but it's nothing new. So that's why, you know, if I decide to leave PlayStation, you know shit's getting bad. You know shit's about to go south, man. But yeah, I'm not going to say I'm not going to cover Xbox or talk about them, but I just don't know how much longer I can fall into this trap. That's what it feels like. It feels like a trap. It does. Where it's like, oh, breaking news, everybody. Did you hear? Microsoft might not be making a console. And it's like, yeah, they were okay. Like, I'm just saying, what else could really happen at this point to warrant like, oh man, you know, like what could happen? I mean, maybe if they bought Take-Two Interactive, that would do it. But like, I just don't think there's anything left. I think the tank is empty, man. I don't know. It's hard not to, you know, it's hard, like I said, not to think about the past 6 years. And it's a reflection of me to a degree where it's like I ruminate on certain things, and I definitely shouldn't. Where it's like, let it go, bro. Who gives a shit? And I'm like, yeah, you know, this isn't really important to what I'm trying to achieve at the end of the day. I'm not saying talking about Xbox. I'm not saying literally talking about Xbox. I just mean like there's a lot of toxicity that comes with the territory here. And you know how they say you got to pick and choose your battles. And it's like, bro, it doesn't matter if I was right. It really doesn't, because like I said, a lot of people are right about a lot of things. A lot of people are wrong about a lot of things. And it's just that, to me, the only thing that actually matters is having a good grasp and a good understanding of what is, and trying to make the most logical, educated, and reasonable predictions that we can as to like what may be in the coming months, potentially years. That, I think, is all that's actually worthwhile in the space. And I feel like a lot of that has gone out the window, unfortunately. Are you wearing my underwear? Says that's some crazy ego. Like 20, 30 people on X respond to you. You think that's big? Streamers like Asmon or Quinn been saying that for years. Well, yeah, I'm just saying that like I'm just saying that it can become an overinflation where it's like I am not that relevant. Like I'm aware of that. And there have been times in the past where I've been like, I think certain aspects of my channel, maybe Twitter, I don't know, were more relevant than they are now. Like, absolutely. And I got to be honest, man, like, it is one of these things where you get kind of caught up in it where it's like, oh no, like, I need to have that influence or that reach, but it's like, but why? But like, to what end? And yes, that's the thing. You mentioned like some of the biggest streamers in the world, like Asmongold. Like, dude, I mean, there's got to be a level of difficulty with that, dude. I couldn't handle that. I would have to quit. I'm like, I can't handle knowing that there's like millions of people on the planet that anything I say is like gospel to them. You know? where like any thought I have like that to me I would crumble under that pressure where it's like that's too much. That's just too much. And that's why like I don't know. I guess that's why sometimes I do try to just let the other side, so to speak, whatever the other side of the argument may be. Like if we're talking about video games, like occasionally I come across people who are like, let me tell you why Microsoft's so much better. It's like, okay, I might not agree still, but I want to hear it. I want to hear it's good. Like let's get everything out there. You know? It's good for me anyway. I don't know if it's good for everybody, but yeah, it's been a wild ride, I got to say. I don't know if this is the end for Microsoft, not Microsoft, but Xbox as we knew it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm sure there's still going to be some level of dragging out that's going to occur in the next year and a half or so. But for all intents and purposes, it does seem like we've kind of reached that end game. For better or for worse, I think there are pros and there are cons, but we are here. And yeah, I mean, are you wearing my underwear? I think you kind of summed it up well earlier when you were saying that Sony's going to continue to produce good games, good consoles. Same with Nintendo. Microsoft's going to make a lot of money. You know, where the friction lies at that point, I don't know. It's hard to identify because that doesn't sound too bad on the surface, right? There's a thing that's called black PR where companies deliberately spread fake rumors. Microsoft could be doing this. Corp spread fake rumors to test the water, test public reaction. Oh, yeah, I believe that 100%. Yeah, there's something weird going on. There's just some, like, for the past 2.5 years, there's been something very strange going on with the marketing and, like, the rumor mill cycle for Microsoft. And it's made me feel like, again, it makes me feel like I fall for something. I don't know why. Like that's the feeling I'm left with. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I take it and I run with it too fast and I literally do trip and fall, but it's just strange because it's like in reality, I think what's being like the great revelation, so to speak, you know? I think a more appropriate reaction from me, what I'm trying to say, Irfan, is huh, saw that coming. You know, like, and that's it. Like, that's basically the long and short of it. Like, that's it. It's just, yeah, that's not surprising. I don't know. They're manipulating my emotions. I'm gonna call it, yeah, black PR. They're messing with my head, man. Get out of my head. Did I respond to IGN's video about PlayStation games being all the same? I reacted to it on stream. It was okay, but I left a Twitter post on their tweet about the video, and I said, I don't know. I was in a weird mood. I was like, don't worry. I heard the next God of War, Kratos discovers his love of gardening. It's going to be a very different story. Don't worry about it. It's not going to be the same. I don't know. It was a stupid reply. I don't even know why I said that. I didn't know what else to say. I'm like, if I get angry at this, I feel like I'm just, you know, it's to be expected. It's like just too, like, of course, everybody's going to get angry at the IGN, whatever. Well, we will see, though. We will see what else Sony has story-wise. I appreciate their storytelling. I do. I understand that there's some people are like it's too similar, but I do need to talk to you guys about this Red Dead rumor, though. So, guys, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best video games ever made, bar none. It's quite shocking that it doesn't have a native PlayStation 5 port yet. But a couple of days ago, some fans noticed something. Apparently, Rockstar updated their official description for Red Dead Redemption 2 on their Steam page. And this was the first time they updated it in years. So people were like, all over this, basically saying that I think it's happening. Like, is it finally happening? But then we have Nate the Hate, who is a pretty reliable insider. I'd say he's very reliable. Ben on Twitter said, "Are you absolutely certain?" Asking Nate the Hate, "with full confidence, Red Dead Redemption 2 Switch 2 / Gen 9 updates exist. Realistically, we have October and November. After that, it's likely full steam ahead on the marketing for GTA." Nate the Hate responds by saying, "Yes, they exist. I have no update on timing for release." So I don't know, guy. Like, is it finally happening? Because I feel like, dude, we've been waiting a long time for this, and I'll be honest, I kind of gave up on it. I kind of just figured we've gotten rumor after rumor, and yeah, it's been 84 years, man. Jake, thank you for that. I hope you have a good day at work, man. And I just kind of assume that it's not happening. Like, they're just focused on GTA 6. But I don't know, man. Between the movement on the Steam page after years of nothing, and now Nate the Hate saying, yes, they do exist, but he doesn't have an exact time frame. And I'm in agreement with what Ben said on Twitter, where it's like, dude, surely this is not going to be a 2026 thing. In fact, if they announced Red Dead Redemption 2 for PS5 tomorrow, I would be surprised, just because, I mean, bro, like, we are, like, why now? Why this close to GTA? Somebody said it's because they're preparing to delay GTA again, and this is going to cushion the blow. I don't know if I believe that, but yeah, there's also so many games out right now. God, Red Dead 2 is it's an amazing game, but oh, they got to do a physical copy, right? Right? Oh, Mr. B, that's interesting. You think they'll do it to show that 60 FPS is possible for GTA 6? That's an interesting theory. Red Dead Redemption 2 to take the edge off of the GTA 6 2027 PS6 launch. Well, I won't lie. I will be excited if this is announced, because I love Red Dead Redemption 2. This is one of my favorite games. I'm just still always impressed with how impressive Red Dead 2 is, where it's like, bro, this is a PS4 game? What? It still does so many things that modern day games today are not doing or haven't achieved. So I'm always impressed with Red Dead Redemption 2. And yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Erfin, is like imagining what Red Dead Redemption 2 could look like running on the PS5 Pro. Oh, man. Oh, man. I mean, even if you play it right now on the PS5 without it being a native port, it still looks great. But if they could get like native 4K, 60 FPS, maybe ray tracing, I don't know, man. I don't know. But it would look damn good. I would buy it. And I would really hope that they do a physical version. I would be a little bit upset if they don't do a physical version, but I could also kind of understand where they're like, maybe not. My assumption, though, is that if Red Dead Redemption 2 is getting a native PS5 port and like an Xbox Series port, and obviously the Switch 2 I will say, if it's true that it's coming to Switch 2, I think that would make the most sense as to why it took so long and why they waited so long. But I mean, I would anticipate that there's not going to be like an upgrade path. Yeah, I would assume that if they do a native PS5 version of Red Dead Redemption 2 for the PS5, did I just say a native PS5 version for the PS5? My God, I've been talking for too long. If they do it, I'm assuming you're going to have to just pay for it. Like, you're going to have to rebuy it. I don't anticipate they're going to be like, you could pay an upgrade fee if you have the PS4 version. Maybe they will. Maybe they could shock us, but. Oh, you haven't played you haven't played either, Raven? You haven't played Red Dead 1 or 2? Oh, I highly recommend them. They're very good. Yeah. No, the Red Dead game, the Red Dead there was a Red Dead Revolver game which I actually never played. That was the original before Red Dead Redemption. But I don't think that was really that successful. Red Dead Redemption is really what catapulted um basically what brought Red Dead Redemption 2 and made it a series ultimately. Dan, you're saying Red Dead Redemption 1 is a masterpiece, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is just kind of slow. Red Dead Redemption 2 is slow. It is, but I kind of like that about it. I don't know, I enjoyed it. It's like kind of like you savor the experience, but it's a very realistic game. Yeah. And Are You Wearing My Underwear says Steam Deck plays Red Dead Redemption 2 45 FPS at 90 hertz. The Switch 2 will be fine. Yeah, I'm assuming it'll be fine. I mean, Rockstar, I just don't doubt them, you know? Like, if they're going to release Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch 2, probably, like, I would assume it'll probably be the best looking game on the Switch 2, you know? But that is impressive on the Steam Deck. 45 FPS, 90 hertz. Not bad. Not bad at all. Ghetto God's like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the greatest game of all time. Dan's like, whoa, relax. No, a lot of people feel that way. That's not an uncommon opinion. A lot of people feel that Red Dead Redemption 2 is literally the greatest video game of all time. And I get it. It's a super impressive game, man. It's super impressive. It's been so long. I only played it one time, though. That's the thing. But I felt like that's all I needed. It's a very long game, though. It's a long game. It's got some slower pacing. But God, I really, really enjoyed it. Actually, the more I think about it, man, like, I really do want to replay Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm kind of glad I didn't go back to it because I've only experienced it one time, and to re-experience it on the PS5 Pro would be amazing. I hope this is true. I hope this happens. You beat it 3 times. Impressive. You heard this GTA 6 is the last GTA period. Why? The next game will be another new city and transport system. Heard every 5 years, a new city and a Rockstar alternate America. Sounds crazy. So it sounds like what you're describing, Titus, is essentially they're going to continue GTA through the next version of GTA Online perpetually. I could see that. But oh man. Sometimes I forget that GTA Online 2 is coming. And they haven't said anything about it. We don't know. Petrov. Rockstar hasn't said a single word about the next GTA Online, but it's absolutely coming. It's something they've been working on alongside GTA 6. My assumption is that GTA Online 2 will not launch with GTA 6. I think it will come out a couple weeks later. They did that with GTA Online 1. If you got GTA 5, I think you had to wait like 2 weeks or something for multiplayer. And it was really bare bones when it came out. But they're going to go all in with GTA Online 2. Dude, I can't wait for GTA 6. I can't wait to see. Part of my excitement for GTA 6 is not just the game and playing it and experiencing it, but it's also just I can't wait to see like what it actually does in the industry. Because like I really just have this expectation for this game where it's like, I'm serious, man. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see anything replicate what this game does. I'm just curious to see if I'm right about that. It's gonna be an exciting time. I'm a little nervous. I don't know. I'm like nervous that it's gonna be like so insane that's like you're not gonna be able to play GTA 6 for a week because all the servers are down. Like literally, like the PlayStation servers are down. Or like maybe your only way you could play it is you have to buy a physical copy and play it offline or some shit like that. Are you wearing my underwear? Thank you for all the super chats, buddy. You're saying Red Dead Redemption 2 is amazing looking on PC, sometimes $5 to $10 CD keys. Yeah, dude. I mean, I've come across these videos that basically show games, not even just Red Dead Redemption 2, but even like GTA 5, where they have like these modders. And they're like they're modding the graphics, obviously, but they're pushing it to the absolute limit where I'm like, that looks like a next gen game, like beyond PS5. Like that looks like a PS6 game somehow. And I've seen a couple of those for Red Dead Redemption 2, and it is wild. I think that's where you see some of the strengths of PC gaming, where like to see that just the fact that you can do that type of stuff is pretty sick. I'm okay not doing it. I'm okay not partaking in it, but I do appreciate when I come across these videos that show it off. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of nuts. What did I see recently? I saw recently there was a PC mod of Silent Hill F, and it was like PS5, and it was a first person view of the character holding up a doll, and the doll looked like, I don't know, like a 14th century doll that a Japanese schoolgirl would have. And in the PC, it's below that, it showed a picture. It said PC version, and the character was holding Buzz Lightyear with one arm with the T hat and shit. And I'm like, or the Tea Time hat. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like, I'm not even a PC gamer. And I'm like, hell yeah. PC gaming is awesome. It's so funny. Mods are so funny. They really are. MRPD knows. He knows, bro. You would like to see more Red Dead, especially since it'd be PS6 hardware and look insane. Oh, I have no doubt we're getting a Red Dead Redemption 3. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best-selling games ever. So even though GTA 6 is going to break everything and be the moneymaker perpetually for Take-Two Interactive, we're absolutely going to be getting a Red Dead 3. And that's going to be... I really wonder what that's going to look like, dude, because... Well, I don't know. I mean, do you guys think a Red Dead Redemption 3, would it be... Do you think it would be before, like another prequel, essentially, like before John Marston, before Arthur Morgan, or do you think it would be, like John Marston's son? That'd be super interesting, man. 1910s, you think? Oh hell yeah! Oh my god, imagining a Red Dead Redemption 3 built natively for the PlayStation 6. My lord. That would be incredible. Yeah. Yeah. And Undead Nightmare 2 with it. Damn, Irfin's getting too excited, bro. Irfin's getting a little too excited. Guys, make sure you're hitting that like button, by the way. Let's see. So, all right. My voice is starting to give out a little bit. Not entirely, but I was telling you I have a sore throat. So here's what we're going to do. I have one more topic to discuss, but I'm not going to discuss it for too long. I want to talk about Battlefield with you guys before we wrap it up. I just wish my throat wasn't hurting so bad. Carlos, you're saying MBG Bloober Team updated the site of Silent Hill 2 Remake. Seems like it's coming to Xbox and Switch 2 or Xbox and Epic Game Store. Also, Dusk Golem says the Born from a Wish DLC is coming. Oh, nice. Yeah, I forgot about that. Sometimes I forget that Silent Hill 2 is a timed exclusive for PlayStation. Yeah, they could have released that on Xbox a while ago, I think. But yeah, the Born from a Wish DLC, I'll have to check that out. Are you wearing my underwear? Says Rockstar recently shouted out NoPixel on Twitter, the RP server. They are collabing with them going forward. Huge for that team. They're modders to Rockstar partners. That's interesting. Yeah, Stop it. Boss is over here trying to mount like, are you kidding me, dude? Um, yeah, one of the things I'm most interested in seeing when we talk about like or not Red Dead, but GTA 6 multiplayer or like GTA Online 2 is it seems to me like my assumption anyway is Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive are going to try to position GTA Online 2 as a platform game, but just like a platform. We look at titles like Fortnite, we look at titles like even Roblox, and these are platforms, man. Like they're games, but you can create games within the games, and there's a social aspect, and they're just platforms. So I imagine that this probably has something to do with that. You know, they want to allow people to create, and I just wonder how far it will go. But they want to allow people for GTA Online 2 to create their own experiences. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if GTA Online 2 ends up being up there with the likes of Fortnite and Roblox in terms of players and people just basically like that is the only game that they exist in. That already does kind of happen now, where I know they have like these servers where GTA players role play and stuff or role play servers. I don't really watch that stuff. I've come across a couple clips. It's pretty funny, but I think yeah, it kind of shows that there's always been this kind of desire for, I guess, this to actually happen in a more official way. And now that there are already these games that have already made it happen, I think the runway is clear, man. I think GTA Online 2 is going to be huge. I'm very curious about it myself. Very curious. Voyager, what's going on, man? It would be hard to do a cowboy western set after Red Dead 1. It would be tough. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. That's why I was thinking, Miku fan, like if they were to do Red Dead 3, they might go back even further. But, or maybe like it could be set during the same time, but with a completely different cast of characters, different story. I'm sure they're going to work on it though once they're done with GTA 6. You miss hunting the buffalo. Well, let's move on to the final topic of today's stream, which is about Battlefield 6. I came across a couple of reports here. Actually, hold on. We have a bonus topic. PlayStation quietly cancels remaining PlayStation concert tours in the US. PlayStation appears to have quietly canceled virtually all of its remaining 2025 dates for its PlayStation concert events in the US. PlayStation The Concert is a live stage show featuring music from across PlayStation's 30-year history. It says the tour kicked off in the UK earlier this year, with shows taking place in multiple cities, including London and Glasgow. However, the tour's European run seemingly ran into trouble, with several events reportedly canceled in countries such as Poland, Sweden, and Norway, Italy, and others planned for Germany and Budapest pushed back until summer. Now it appears ticket buyers for the PlayStation Concert US dates are set for similar disappointment after social media users reported being notified of cancellations for the planned 2025 events in Atlanta, Cleveland, Detroit, Charlotte, and more. According to Ticketmaster, previously announced 2025 dates for New York, Reading, Washington, D.C., Grand Rapids, Huntsville, Chicago, Boston, and Philadelphia have all been canceled. So, yeah, man, I think they've been canceled because I guess they just weren't selling enough tickets or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I just wanted to report that to you guys because I thought that was really strange. Are you wearing my underwear? It says, bro, if you don't watch GTA RP, you have no idea how big it is. Merch, music, dedicated clip channels, huge streamers play every update. Yeah, I've had people tell me before that it's like really big. I didn't know it was like that big though. Like it's its own thing. Truly, merch, music. They got music. Yo, I'm gonna become a GTA RP channel. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Maybe, I don't know. My cousin, my late cousin, I think he could have done that. My late cousin, I remember one day I went over his house and he was playing SAMP, San Andreas multiplayer, on his PC, and I was like, bro, what is this? He's like, it's SAMP, man. I'm like, wait, so it's like multiplayer for San Andreas? He's like, yeah. I'm like, is this I don't know if I worded it this way, but I was like, is it official? And he's like, no, you can only do it on PC. I think I asked him, like, is it on PS2? And he's like, no, it's only on PC. But I remember thinking it was the coolest shit ever. It's crazy. I bet you a lot of those GTA RP people, they probably were there. They were there they were the OGs playing SAMP. GTA is so awesome, man. Such a great series. It really is. I don't want to glaze it too much, though, because I already glazed it too much. I have a question about your Game Pass, your only Game Pass playing friend. How does he feel about the price hike of Game Pass? He only sent me one message, I think the day of the announcement, and I didn't inquire whether he was serious or not. I think he was serious. I don't know. I've been seeing him on his PlayStation 5 a lot more, so maybe he wasn't as serious as I thought. But he was like, did you hear the news about Game Pass, ... And I was like, yeah, I definitely did. And he was like, we're getting even more games now. This is great. And I'm like, yeah, man. Now he busts my balls sometimes, and I was just like, nah, dude. I was like, Game Pass sucks, bro. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it for you, man. I don't even know how you could stay subscribed to Game Pass. We didn't get into an argument or anything. It wasn't that serious, but I don't know. His reaction was, he seems to, I don't know if he was being facetious or not. He seems to be okay with it. But yeah, I don't know, man. But he is somebody who refuses to buy video games. He won't buy video games anymore. So it's official. Corpo MBG detected. PlayStation's YouTube channel has a Ghost of Yotei official soundtrack listening party on the 16th of October. Interesting. Well, I have a report here regarding Battlefield 6 that I accidentally just clicked out of. But basically, analysts are predicting that Battlefield 6 is set to sell 5 million units in 1 week, making it one of the largest launches this year. And I don't know. I guess I just want to take a moment to kind of express my hype for Battlefield, because we are 4 days away. I don't know why I thought we were 5 days away. We're 4 days away. Who here is getting Battlefield? I've seen a lot of you guys express excitement in it. What's exciting to me about Battlefield is, like, it's not Call of Duty. And what I mean by that is it's been a while, you know? Battlefield 2042, I don't even count that. I don't even count that. Dude, for me, the last Battlefield that I was excited for was Battlefield 1. So it's been like a decade. Also, have you guys, like, I was going back and watching some footage of Battlefield 1. Oh my God, bro. Like, it's still one of the best looking video games ever created. Like, it's insane. Battlefield 1 was insane. But that was the last Battlefield game that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, I played every expansion. I loved it. Battlefield 5 really lost me for some reason. I don't know why. Something about it felt off to me. And then Battlefield 2042, I played the beta, and I'm like, no. No. I don't know what's going on here, but no. So Battlefield 6 feels like the first time in pretty much a decade that we're getting a new Battlefield game that actually seems good. And I'm stoked for it. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that there's actual, like, genuine excitement for it too. Are you wearing my underwear? You're saying Battlefield is a skip. EA owned by Saudis. Nah, F that. Yeah, that's a tough one, dude. I'm not going to lie. That is a tough one. There's a part of me that, like, kind of wants to do that, but at the same time, I'm like, Plants vs Zombies is coming out this month, bro, and it's like I can't do that to myself. But yeah, fuck them, dude. Right? Like fuck them. I don't like that shit. Why did EA have to do this, man? That's kind of how I was trying to look at it, Titus. You're saying it won't affect anything made for about 4 to 5 years, so it's cool for a while. Yeah, I'm trying to look at it as like we don't know what any of the ramifications of this are actually going to be. But yeah, I don't know why EA had to do this. Because I don't know. I really, even if we just like put the whole morality side of it aside, even if we put that to the side, we have no idea like if EA is about to actually become even worse, right? I have no idea what to expect with EA being under new ownership with the Saudis. I saw people saying that Microsoft is basically going to be refining their they're going to be refining Activision Blizzard King to make them very sellable, and they're going to sell them to the Saudis. And I'm like, dude, like that would be imagine that. Like imagine how nightmarish it would be to find out that both Activision Blizzard King and EA were owned by the Saudis, bro. That would be like what the hell? But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I can't skip out on Battlefield 6. I played that beta, and I guess I am trying to take the approach of I do want to reward the developers. You know, I think that I watched that at least parts of it. I watched the Battlefield like presentation they did, and I really did get a sense like they really are trying. Like they're really trying to give it their all here. I'm not sensing bullshit. I mean, there's some marketing, of course, but it seems like they really are trying to win back the fan base, and I appreciate that. I do because I am a lapsed Battlefield fan. I am that Battlefield fan that like I hope you win me back. And then you guys watched me play the beta. I had a good time, but I don't. You know, I can respect anybody who's making the decision, especially after what was just announced to pass on it. But yeah, I kind of forgot that Plants vs. Zombies Remastered is coming out this month as well. And I'm like, shit, this is kind of a rare instance, 2 EA games in 1 month that I'm actually excited for. What? I can't believe it's taken this long. The last time we had Plants vs. Zombies was on, for PlayStation, I think was on the Vita, bro. The Vita version. Plants vs. Zombies is awesome. I'm assuming that's going to be done though, right? Like now, I mean, right? I'm pretty sure PopCap is done. I hate that. I hate that so much. I like PopCap. I've always liked Plants. I've always had a soft spot for Plants vs. Zombies. I would like to see that studio continue on. But I don't know what the future of that studio looks like. Mr. B, you're hyped for Battlefield 6 day one. I want to know if Battlefield's actually going to surpass Call of Duty this year. That would be incredible. It would be awesome to see that. I think that would genuinely humble Activision. It would humble, I think, the entirety of the Call of Duty fan base. Or not the fan base, but the development teams, I mean. Are you wearing my underwear? You're saying Saudi already sports washing and buying up everything like entertainment. Long play plan to get into Western media and slowly influence / change it. I hope not, dude. Yeah, I definitely don't like the way they do things. Suffice to say, you know, I hope that's not true. I mean, it sounds like conspiratorial territory, but when you see what's going on, it's like, yeah, I guess it is kind of playing out that way, man. It's a little bit disturbing. It's unsettling. Do I want a Days Gone 2 with super zombies? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I do. They got to, Saudi's got to spend that oil money somewhere. well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I do have a problem with the way they are, uh, in terms of like their view of like women and stuff. I'm like, I don't fucking it. I find it disgusting. Um, and yeah, so I will have to keep an eye out for EA in the future and see what we're gonna have to keep an eye on the Saudis, bro, because I do think you're right. Are you wearing underwear? Like, I think this is the longer term play, and that's gonna be a problem. That's definitely gonna become a problem if this is really what they're trying to do. Because that's why, like, when I saw people saying like, "Oh, Microsoft's gonna try to sell ABK to the Saudis next," I'm like, it sounds like a joke, but actually, it seems like they might like that actually might be real. And God, we are so cooked if that happens. I don't think Plants vs Zombies was available on the N64, bro. Plants vs Zombies came out in 2009. A new patch for Ghost of Yotei's out. What does it do? Let's see. Uh, Seeing if I can look it up. Sucker Punch post on Twitter, patch 1.008 went out over the weekend. It fixed an issue blocking progression in the Matsume camp and fixed rare crashing issues. Okay. I haven't run into any issues whatsoever. Oh, hold on. I haven't run into any technical issues or bugs or anything like that in Yotei so far. So the game came out, released very um, you know, finished. Shocking. I know, right? Your game crashed once. You tried when you were trying to do a traveler maps thing, but that was it. I wonder if that's what they fixed. Don't think the US regulatory bodies would let that happen, especially if the buyer is a foreign state. Well, really quick, I think I asked this question earlier, but I didn't look to see what the answers people may have been giving me were. Did that EA buyout already like go through, or does it still have a whole process it has to go through before it can be allowed to happen? That's the only thing I'm unsure of. You had a bug once where your horse ran away if you called it. Oh wow, that's funny. At least Sucker Punch is serious about providing a good experience for those who purchase their game. Yeah, man. I can't wait to see how the story unfolds. I can't wait to play the Legends mode too when that comes out. They're one of America's biggest allies. Yeah, it's tough, man, because it's like, this is where so much conflict stems from the way of life. What is the right way to live? What is the wrong way to live? But I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not a I don't like. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of ways about the Saudi Arabia, the way that they treat things and handle things, and I'm like, I do not condone that. I am not. No, like it straight up just feels flat out wrong. You know, without getting too deep into it. Again, I'm definitely not having a political conversation, but if you look into it, if you do some level of research, it's not good, man. It's just not good. Um, and it's just concerning because, like, I was seeing like a couple of posts from random accounts, well, not random, but people who have followings on like Twitter, where they were like celebrating this. They were like, no more woke games, like no more woke stuff, and like now they're gonna make the women this and that. I don't know, like it's just like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, dude, do you not understand? Like, it just, I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to start calling you underwear. Sad games now need updates so quick after release. Yeah, but I don't know. I'd rather see that than, like, I'd rather see a small patch like this than something that's like, we had to put a patch out where we're fixing like 30 things. But then again, I'm the guy who bought Metal Gear Delta. Dude, Konami still hasn't fixed Metal Gear Delta, man. And I'm like, I'm starting to worry that they just don't know how to. That's what I'm starting to worry about that. Like, I'm starting to worry that the reason why Konami hasn't fixed the Unreal Engine 5 issues or the yeah, I'll call them undies. There we go. Or the the PS5 Pro stuff going on with Metal Gear Delta is because they just don't know how. Like, that's why they're like, we're not, listen, we don't know how to fix this. And if a fix does happen, it's not going to happen anytime soon. We may as well just release it. I hope it's not that. I hope it's not that, man. Titus, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. They still haven't fixed Silent Hill 2 on the Pro. Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. I've been hearing people still complain about that. Maybe they'll fix that soon, right? When they release it for Xbox and Switch, maybe they'll have a big update. I don't know, man. Undies says they also bought into Pokemon Go, Monopoly Go. What? Oh man, don't they? Isn't there something going on with them with Nintendo as well? I swear I read something about that a while ago. Oh, it's so hard, man. It's so hard. It's so hard to live in the world of consumerism and actually have morals and ethics. It really is, because it's like, and I've learned this, is like, you may feel like you want to draw lines, and you can, but you begin to realize very quickly that, like, dude, you're going to have a lot of fucking lines. Like, you're barely going to be able to do anything. And that's what makes it so tough, is like, it does feel like your only option sometimes is like, do nothing. And that's how you can actually be moral, and that's how you can be righteous. Or just not care. And I hate that. But it kind of does, I think it shines a light to a degree on, I just think, the bigger picture problem, which is nothing will ever be perfect, right? Nothing will ever be perfect. But yeah, there are different degrees, I guess we could say. Different degrees. I just want to enjoy Battlefield 6, man. Just let Battlefield 6 be a good game. I just want to enjoy Plants vs. Zombies. I want to relive. Well, it wasn't my childhood, but 2009. How old was I in 2009? 15. I was 15 years old, bro. So I guess that's childhood, 15. Yeah, 15. Plants vs. Zombies. MBG Middle Eastern here. The Saudis are just money, nothing more. No art, nothing, just pure oil money. And they want to make more. It's that oil money, baby. You were 22, Virgo? Damn. Virgo, you old, bro. I'm just kidding. We all got dirt on our hands. Be nice to get clean, though. So what are you going to do? Guess I'll ante up and kick in. Glory, 1987. Titus always coming in with the quotes, bro. But guys, I do think this will be a good place to maybe wrap up the stream, though, because we did cover all the topics. We had basically a little bit of a bonus topic, I guess a bit of a follow-up to some of the Xbox stuff we were talking about yesterday. But it was a good stream. I enjoyed it. Undies says investment is the goal. Oil predicted to be dry by 2045. Is this why we're pushing for the clean energy stuff? Because that would explain a lot. That would actually explain a lot. Yeah, we got to play more Yotei. If the oil is predicted to be dried up by 2045, I guess that would explain why they're like, yo, we got to find a different source of energy. Why can't everything just be powered by the sun? That's a serious question. Like, it's well above my head, obviously, but I do wonder that. I'm like, bro, the sun is like, there it is, all the energy you could ever need. Are there any members lounges happening this week or Morning with the Misses? Morning with the Misses is up in the air right now. There may or may not be one this Friday, MRPD. I'll let you know as we get closer to the end of the week. I'll do a members lounge though for sure at some point. We could do it tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm probably gonna have to do it when my throat's healed up though. I really don't know what's wrong with it. I guess it's just a small cold or something. But we will. So just be on the lookout, MRPD. I'll definitely let you guys know in advance if we do a Morning with the Misses this Friday. And Andy says they're oil, so they need alternative income. Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. That would explain why they're making all those investments. Yeah. Interesting. Well, I do wonder what EA is going to look like 5 to 8 years from now, you know? I mean, how different is it really going to be? Do you think this is one of those things where they're actually going to try to get involved and like change things, or do you think that it's just like, we just want you to keep making the money? We don't care. Like, just pretend we're not even here. Is it one of those things? It's hard to charge people monthly for solar energy. Oil and gas companies do not want people to go solar. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. God, that's so. Mm. The problems are many, the solutions seemingly few. But we're trying. I like to think we're trying. Just let them finish the Last Jedi game. I need to know what happens with Cal. Oh, yeah, true, true. We have two suns, MBG. One is only 35 miles down. Endless energy. If we could just get a few equations right. Second law of thermodynamics. Oh, that's true. Two suns, that's it, yeah. Well, I'm just gonna keep playing video games. You know, I don't really know what else. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna get down to the Earth's core, bro. And Undy says simple. Support EA equals supporting the Saudi state. Man, now I feel bad. Now I just feel great shame now. Titus with the super chat says, tell Megan we hope she feels better. Well, thank you, Titus. I will. Yeah, I appreciate all the well wishes, guys. And Megan is definitely appreciative of all the support you guys have been showing. And she had a really good time with that Morning with the Misses, by the way. She was excited to do that again. And you know, you guys didn't disappoint. So it was a good time. I had a good time too. It was fun. But she's still playing that Hello Kitty Island Adventure game and she's still working on the platinum, man. I'll be interested to see if she can get it. But she's grinding away. So you know what, actually too, I reinstalled Dead by Daylight and she reinstalled it. And I think we're gonna try to go back to playing a little bit of Dead by Daylight. It's October. Halloween's coming up. We're kind of feeling the energy. That Halloween game, by the way, I didn't really talk about it, but that Halloween game that was shown off at the State of Play, that looks really good. I'm excited for that. It is so funny to me though, because I'm like, but Dead by Daylight exists. So, but I like the art style and the tone. I'm like, it's capturing the feel of the movie perfectly. So next year. But yeah, thank you guys for all the well wishes. When it comes to the recovery, yeah, that's kind of the tough part. It's a little bit awkward. She's not really ever going to recover, unfortunately. The problem she has with her spine, the closest thing we could get to a recovery eventually is like surgery. that attempts to repair her spine and like fuse it together. Um, and eventually she is going to have to get that done. It's just a major surgery. So it's, it's going to be something that we have to plan for. But based off of what the surgeons told us, it's not going to be like a permanent fix. Over time, it could take 5 years. It could take a little bit longer than 5 years, but over time, it'll like kind of come undone, and she'll have to get the surgery again potentially. So it's a shitty situation overall. Um, but yeah, if anything, most of it's just pain management with her right now, and she has to use crutches sometimes or a walker. Probably gonna, be investing in a wheelchair soon for occasional use if she's not, we have to like go distances or something, and she can't walk all the way with because her spine's literally broken. So it's like, you know, I mean, I've had a lot of back pain myself, but I don't know what that pain's like. I just know that it's constant pain for her. So we're trying, and this is why I tell you guys, like, I really do appreciate everything you do for me and my family. We're just trying to do our best. And, I tell you guys that we have some really good people here. And I mean that. We have some really, really good people here. And, I try not to ever come off as like I just expect you guys to be here. I've had some weird shit go on in my life. I'm sure you guys have too. We all have weird shit go on. I don't know how I made it here, but I'm glad I did. So then Corey comes in. Corey, the Legend Landiga, out of nowhere. Boss, he is here. Boss has knocked the F out. He drops 5 more member gifts for you guys as we're wrapping it up here, and he brings us to 60. Crazy. Thank you guys. That's what I mean. Like, did not expect to hit 60 members today, bro. I got to give you guys some reps too. I may take a rain check on the reps. I'm not going to lie. I apologize. I may have to take a rain check because I think I'm getting sick. Like, I either am sick or I'm getting sick. I can feel it. I felt it a little bit this morning, and I'm like, feeling it in the back of my throat. And it's kind of gotten a little bit worse. So I think I'm going to take it easy, actually, just in case. I don't want to. If I don't stream tomorrow, if I'm not here tomorrow, you guys know why. At the Rona. Yeah. Kids going back to school and stuff. It's the way it is every year. I do got that throat coat, though. I got that throat coat. So I should be covered. But Corey, I'm sorry. Corey, did you just get to the stream, by the way, man? He got here late. But he still made it. You've had it twice this year. Well, hey, better late than never, Corey. I'm glad you could still show up, man. Damn, you had it twice this year, Titus? That sucks. You too, Prince? Damn. I don't know. Maybe that's what I got. My only symptom is my throat's very sore. That's my only symptom. I don't have a headache. Now that I'm saying this, though, all this stuff's probably happening. I don't have a headache. Nose is fine. Don't have a runny nose or sinus pressure. No body aches. No fever. Literally just a sore throat. So maybe I'll get lucky, and whatever this is, that's all I'll experience. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get some more gameplay in with Ghost of Yotei. I'll probably continue to talk more about it. You guys know how we do it here. This isn't going to be the only day I talk about Ghost of Yotei. These are just my initial impressions. But yeah, we'll continue to play and talk about it. MBG on Friday, my dogs say he's limping. I don't even say limping with his hind leg up. Tomorrow he goes to the vet, hoping for the best. I'm sorry to hear that, Devil Shooter. How old's your dog? Yeah, I hope for the best too, man. Having a dog is it's a family member. 7. Oh, he's not that old. Yeah, hopefully it's nothing serious, man. Yeah, I don't know. Life is scary like that. Life is kind of scary, I worry all the time about my family. I worry about worry about Megan. I worry about my kids. I worry about my cats. I think about like Leia's getting old. I think Leia's going to be, God, I think Leia's going to be 10 soon. Oh, she's getting old, dude. So yeah, life is interesting. I'll try to save it though. I'm veering. I'm getting very close to the existential territory. So I'm gonna reel it in, save it for a members lounge. But yeah, I'll hope for the best too for your dog, Devil Shooter. What's his name? That's what your coworker told you. He's 55. Do I listen to AFI? If so, what do I think? Dude, the only time I don't listen to AFI, and I know the band name, and the only reason I know them is because I remember many, many years ago there was some kind of MySpace party or some shit where they were the band that was being featured. That's all I remember. I think I know like one song from them. I didn't even know they were still around, dude. His name's Bo. Oh, that's a cool name. Well, we'll hope for the best. We'll wish Bo the best. You'll have to let us know. Give us an update, Devil Shooter. Prince, you work at a huge mail processing facility, U.S. Postal Service. Prince G, are you going to go postal, bro? I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. But, you know, somebody's got to say it. Somebody's got to make the joke. Why not me? My mate, who is a chemist, damn, he's had it. I think he may have stopped counting. Shit. Thank you, Devil Shooter. I appreciate that, man. At this point, I'm just trying to get to the 3.5 hour mark. You know, we got 3 more minutes. So there's this great song, but I think it's a great song, but it's a song by Soundgarden called Mailman. I like it. It's really good. Some people think it's sexual. It's not sexual. I don't think it's sexual. I don't think it's meant to be sexual at all. But it's called Mailman. And I don't know. It's a very kind of depressing song though. It's like it's got like an energy to it. But if you want to hear a song about possibly going I don't know if it's about going postal, but yeah, Prince, you are a Soundgarden fan. Do you like that song? Okay. That is yeah, it's very underrated, but I feel like you have to be in a certain mindset to listen to it. I don't think that's what it's about. I'm actually going to look it up now. The song Mailman by Soundgarden is about the emotional trauma and frustration building to a breaking point for a postal worker, drawing inspiration from the wave of postal worker violence in the early 1990s. Frontman Chris Cornell explained it as a narrative from a typically courteous and careful postal employee who, in rare instances, snaps and commits acts of violence against their coworkers. The song illustrates how extreme situations can lead to emotional and, in some cases, violence. Metaphor for extreme frustration. The lyrics capture the overwhelming stress and despair of a difficult situation where an individual feels trapped and overwhelmed by mistreatment or immense pressure. Commentary on mental health. The song explores the psychological toll of extreme situations, suggesting that constant pressure and emotional trauma can push someone to the brink of violence, even if they were previously kind and reasonable. Reflections on societal issues. The song is a dark and surreal reflection of a real world phenomenon, referencing the instances of postal employees committing acts of workplace violence at the time, which shocked the nation. So yeah, it's really good. It's a really good song. It's deep, but yeah, I am playing Ghost of Yotei. Yeah, you have to go back and listen to the beginning of the stream. I talk all about it. Is it a sequel to Spoon Man? I don't think it's a sequel. No. Titus has got it. It's sung in a really interesting fashion too. But all right, guys, we're about to hit the 3.5 hour mark. This is going to be a good place to wrap it up. I want to once again thank everybody for joining me today. If you watched live with me, or if been here for a little bit, or if you're watching later on, thank you so much for the viewership. I did put out a news video earlier where if you missed that, you can go check it out if you're interested. But yeah, thank you to everybody who dropped any support today. We hit 60 members, which is great to see. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, I know I got to be careful, Corey. The copyrights have been getting crazy these days. I got to be careful. If you dropped any super chats, any direct donations, thank you guys so much for any of that. It all helps and it all contributes and allows me to do what I do here. And the only other thing I'm going to ask you to do as you're filing out is hit that like button. I'm going to give a shout out to Devil Shooter as well. He does the timestamps for the streams. If you guys see him with those timestamps in the comments, show him some love, give him some thanks. I know he really appreciates it, and we appreciate what you do, Devil Shooter. So, and again, we wish you the best. We wish Bo the best. Hope for the best. And yeah, so guys, please enjoy the rest of your Monday. We should, as long as I don't wake up sick tomorrow, like really sick or something, I think I'll be okay. We should be back here tomorrow with another stream, and we'll see what the topics of discussion will be. So that's it. All right, guys, I'm out. I will catch you in the next stream, and yeah, hopefully, boss won't knock down the treats next time, right? I still got treats behind me here, bro. Oh my god, yo, Rich, there's no way Rich. I'm ending the stream. I will see you tomorrow, buddy. All right. If you want to cook up a song, bring it tomorrow, and we'll play it at some point. Okay. All right. That's it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, take care, everyone.